The alarm screamed through the bridge of the Valiant as Captain Jake Morrison gripped his command chair. Red emergency lights bathed everything in blood. The ship shuddered under another impact. "Hull breach on Deck 7, Lieutenant Amy Rodriguez shouted over the chaos. "Shields down to 12%. Jake's jaw tightened. 3 months ago, humanity's first deep space vessel had stumbled into Zerillan territory. 3 months of running, 3 months of barely surviving. "Return fire," Jake ordered. "All batteries." The Valiant's railguns thundered. Through the viewport, violet plasma bolts streaked past, missing by meters. The Zerillan warship loomed massive and dark, twice their size. "Direct hit on their port engine," Rodriguez reported. "They're venting atmosphere." "Don't celebrate yet," Jake muttered. "Where's the second ship?" "Starboard side, closing fast." Jake slammed his fist on the console. They destroyed one Zerillan vessel yesterday, crippled another an hour ago. But the Empire kept sending more. All because of her. The door hissed open. Queen Sarava entered, 8 feet of pale blue skin and lethal grace. Her silver eyes locked onto Jake. Those eyes that had changed everything. "Captain, I must speak with you," she said. Her voice carried that melodic accent that made his chest tighten. "Kind of busy keeping us alive," Jake snapped. Another impact rocked the ship. Sarava barely shifted, her muscular frame absorbing the shock. She wore human combat gear now, not the elegant robes she'd arrived in. The clothes couldn't hide what she was, what she'd become. "They will not stop," Sarava said. "My brother commands the fleet. He will chase us to the edge of the galaxy." "Yeah, well, he shouldn't have tried to force you into that political marriage." Sarava moved closer. Even in crisis, she moved like liquid metal. "There is something you must know, something that changes this situation." "Captain, third ship decloaking," Rodriguez interrupted. "Dead ahead." Jake's blood ran cold. 3 Zerillan warships. The Valiant couldn't survive this. "Evasive maneuvers," he barked. "Get us out of here." "Where, sir?" "They've boxed us in." Sarava placed a hand on Jake's shoulder. The touch sent electricity through him. "Jake, listen to me. I'm carrying your child." The bridge fell silent except for the alarm klaxons. Jake turned slowly, meeting her silver eyes. The world seemed to stop spinning. "That's impossible," he whispered. "Our species are more compatible than anyone knew," Sarava said. "The medical scans confirmed it this morning. I am 6 weeks pregnant." Rodriguez stared, mouth open. The other bridge crew had frozen at their stations. "Captain, orders?" someone asked weakly. Jake looked at Sarava, then at the viewport where 3 warships prepared to fire. A human Zerillan hybrid, the first in history. The implications crashed through his mind like meteors. "Incoming transmission," Rodriguez said. "It's Prince Calvor, Sarava's brother. The man who'd vowed to kill them both." Jake straightened in his chair. Everything had just changed. Everything. "Open the channel," he said. Prince Calvor's face filled the view screen. His features mirrored his sister's, sharp and alien, but twisted with rage. Scars ran across his left cheek, souvenirs from the last time Jake had faced him in combat. "Human filth," Calvor hissed. "You have 10 seconds to surrender my sister or I turn your primitive vessel into debris." Jake stood, positioning himself between the view screen and Sarava. "She's not your property, Prince. She made her choice." "Choice?" Calvor's laugh was cruel. "She abandoned her throne, her people, her duty. For what? For you? A species that only discovered faster than light travel 5 years ago? Brother, please." Sarava stepped forward. "You do not understand what has happened." "I understand perfectly. You have disgraced our bloodline. The Council demands your return. Lord Vexron still wishes to marry you despite your betrayal. Vexron is a tyrant who wants to absorb our territory," Sarava said. Her voice remained calm, but Jake heard the steel underneath. "You know this. Father knew this before he died." Calvor's expression darkened. "Father was weak. He let sentiment cloud his judgment. I will not make the same mistake." The 3 Zerillan warships moved into attack formation. Their weapon ports glowed with building energy. Jake activated his comm. "Engineering, I need everything you've got to the engines." Now. Captain, we're already at maximum output, came the reply from Chief Pete Lawson. Push any harder and we'll blow the core. Then pray we don't need to push harder. Jake cut the comm and faced Calvor again. Here's the situation, Prince. Your sister is under Earth's protection now. You want her? You'll have to go through us. Gladly. Calvor leaned forward. Your ship is damaged. Your shields are failing. You cannot fight 3 warships and survive. Maybe not, Jake admitted, but we'll take at least one of you with us. Want to bet which one? Sarava touched Jake's arm. There is another way. Let me tell him about the child. No, Jake said sharply. The second he knows, you become an even bigger target. Or he might listen to reason. A hybrid child could unite our species. Or start a war that kills billions. Calvor's eyes narrowed. What are you two whispering about? An idea sparked in Jake's mind. Desperate, insane, but possible. Rodriguez, how long until we reach the Helios belt? The lieutenant checked her console. 17 minutes at current speed. The asteroid field? Sarava understood immediately. Jake, no! The Valiant is too large to navigate those passages. The Zerillan ships are larger, Jake said. He turned back to Calvor. Last chance, Prince. Call off your attack. You have nothing to bargain with, human. Wrong. I have something you want alive. You start shooting, accidents happen. Stray shots, explosive decompression, all sorts of nasty possibilities. Calvor's hand moved to something off-screen. You would not dare harm her. Try me. For 3 seconds, nobody breathed. The Zerillan warships held position. Jake's hand hovered over the controls, ready to execute the most reckless maneuver of his career. Then Sarava did something unexpected. She stepped directly in front of the view screen, squared her shoulders, and spoke with the voice of a queen. Brother, I carry a human child. Jake Morrison's child, the first hybrid of our species. If you kill us, you destroy the future of both our peoples. Calvor's face went through a series of expressions. Shock, disbelief, horror, and finally something darker. Something calculating. Impossible, he said. Our biology is incompatible. The medical data does not lie, Sarah replied. I am 6 weeks pregnant. The child is healthy and growing. Jake watched Calvor's reaction carefully. The prince was many things. Ruthless, ambitious, dangerous, but he was not stupid. The implications were spinning through his mind just as they had spun through Jake's. If this is true, Calvor said slowly, the council will demand the child be brought to Zerilos to study, to determine its nature. Over my dead body, Jake said. That can be arranged. Try it, and Earth sends its entire fleet. You think 3 warships are a problem? Wait until you face 300. It was a bluff. Earth's fleet numbered barely 50 ships, and most were still in the solar system. But Calvor didn't know that. The prince's scarred face twisted with thought. You have placed me in an impossible position, sister. If I let you go, the council will call me weak. If I capture you, I risk war with Earth. If I kill you, I destroy something potentially valuable. Then choose wisely, Sarava said. The comm crackled. Captain, we're entering the Helios Belt's outer boundary, Rodriguez reported. Asteroids on all sensors. Jake made his decision. Close the channel. Full speed into the belt. Now. Wait, Calvor shouted. The view screen went dark. The Valiant's engines roared to full power. Through the viewport, Jake saw the first asteroids appear, tumbling mountains of rock and ice. Hold on to something, he said. This is going to get rough. The Valiant plunged into the asteroid field like a bullet into a storm. Rocks the size of buildings tumbled past the viewport. Jake's hands flew across the controls. Manual piloting now. No computer could react fast enough. Asteroid port side, Rodriguez called out. Jake rolled the ship. Metal screamed as a smaller rock scraped along the hull. Alarms blared from 3 different stations. Zerillan ships pursuing, Rodriguez said. They're matching our trajectory. Of course they are, Jake muttered. He jerked the controls hard right, threading between 2 massive asteroids. Lawson, how's the core holding up? Like an egg in a vice, Captain. but we're still flying. Sariva braced herself against the navigation console. Despite the chaos, her face remained calm. My brother will not give up. He cannot afford to. Yeah, well, neither can we. Jake spotted a gap ahead. Narrow, but possible. Rodriguez, kill all non-essential power. Divert everything to shields and engines. That includes life support on decks 4 through 9. Do it. Everyone to the upper decks. The ship-wide intercom crackled to life. Jake grabbed it. All hands. This is the captain. Emergency evacuation of lower decks. You have 90 seconds. Move. An explosion lit up the viewport. One of the Zerillan warships had clipped an asteroid. Its shields flared brilliant blue before stabilizing. They're spreading out, Rodriguez reported, trying to flank us. Jake saw it too. 3 ships, 3 different vectors through the field. Smart. Kelvor was boxing them in again, using the asteroids as cover. Captain, incoming transmission, Rodriguez said. Audio only. Put it through. Kelvor's voice filled the bridge. Clever human. But this field has limits. Eventually you will run out of places to hide. Jake didn't respond. He was too busy calculating angles, trajectories, possibilities. The Helios belt stretched for millions of kilometers, but it had patterns. Currents in the debris field where gravitational forces created clear paths and dead ends. There, Sariva pointed at the tactical display. That cluster ahead. The asteroids are moving in a rotation pattern. Jake saw it. A dozen massive rocks orbiting a central point, probably a collapsed planetoid core. The gaps between them opened and closed like the petals of a deadly flower. We'll never make it through, Rodriguez said. We don't have to. We just need them to think we're trying. Jake aimed the Valiant straight at the rotating cluster. Full speed. The ship shook as the engines pushed beyond safety limits. Captain, what are you doing? Rodriguez gripped her console. Something stupid, Jake said. Sariva, get to the escape pods. Take whoever you can fit. I will not leave you. That's not a request. You're carrying the most important cargo in human history. You survive, no matter what. Sariva's silver eyes blazed. Jake Morrison, I did not cross the galaxy to run like a coward. We fight together or not at all. Stubborn alien royalty, Jake muttered. But he couldn't help the grim smile. The rotating asteroids filled the viewport. Each rock was the size of a small moon. The gaps between them narrowed as they spun. Zerillan ships closing, Rodriguez warned. Weapons charging. Hold course, Jake said. Sir, there's no gap. We're going to hit. I know. Plasma bolts streaked past them. One grazed the aft shields, sending power surges through the ship. Lights flickered. Someone screamed from engineering. The asteroids loomed closer. 50,000 meters. 40,000. The gap they'd been aimed at was closing fast. Captain, Rodriguez's voice cracked. Wait for it. 30,000 meters. 20,000. Jake could see the craters on the asteroids now, the ancient scars of cosmic collisions. Now, Jake roared. He slammed the controls. The Valiant dove, not through the gap, but under the entire cluster. The ship's belly scraped against a smaller asteroid. Sparks and debris erupted. Every alarm on the bridge screamed. Behind them, the 3 Zerillan warships tried to follow. The first ship made it through, barely. Its shields flared as rocks battered against it. The second ship wasn't as lucky. It entered the gap just as 2 asteroids rotated into collision. The warship's shields held for exactly 2 seconds before the massive rocks crushed it like a tin can. The explosion lit up the entire cluster. 1 down, Jake said. 2 ships remaining, Rodriguez confirmed. But Captain, look at this. She brought up the long-range sensors. Behind the asteroid field, more ships were arriving. Lots more. At least 20 Zerillan warships, all broadcasting Kelvor's command codes. He called for reinforcements, Sariva said quietly. The entire border fleet. Jake's stomach sank. They could dodge 3 ships, maybe even 5. But 20? In a damaged vessel with failing shields? Captain, we need options. Rodriguez said. Jake stared at the tactical display. The Helios belt stretched ahead of them, millions of rocks and ice fragments. Beyond it lay open space. Beyond that, if they could somehow survive, was a small moon, abandoned, worthless. But it had ancient structures, pre-war bunkers from a civilization that had died out centuries ago. His mind raced through scenarios. None of them ended well. Then his comm beeped. Not ship to ship. Personal channel. Eyes only encryption. "This is Morrison," he said. The voice that responded made his blood run cold and his heart leap simultaneously. "Jake, this is Commander Lisa Grant from Earth Defense Command. We've been monitoring your situation. Hold your position. The cavalry's coming." Through the viewport, space itself seemed to tear open. A massive jump point, bigger than anything Jake had ever seen. And through it came ships. Human ships. Dozens of them. The entire Earth fleet. Guns blazing, shields up, ready for war. "Looks like your bluff just became real, Captain," Rodriguez whispered. Jake allowed himself a breath. Just one, because this wasn't over. Not even close. This was just the beginning. The Earth fleet emerged from the jump point like avenging angels. 53 warships, every vessel humanity could spare. The flagship, the Endeavor, dwarfed even the Zerillan cruisers. Its railguns were already tracking targets. All ex-Zerillan vessels. "This is Commander Lisa Grant of Earth Defense Command. You are in violation of the Treaty of Proxima. Stand down immediately or face destruction." Kelvor's response came fast. "This is Prince Kelvor of the Zerillan Empire. You have no authority here. That ship harbors a fugitive member of the royal family. That ship harbors a refugee under Earth protection. The distinction matters." Jake watched the tactical display update in real time. The 20 Cyrian warships were repositioning, forming a defensive wall, but they hadn't opened fire yet. Good. Nobody wanted this to escalate. "Jake, can you hear me?" Lisa's voice came through his private channel again. "Loud and clear, Commander. Glad you showed up. We've been tracking you for 3 days. The diplomatic channels have been on fire. What the hell did you do out there?" Long story. Involves rescuing a queen, falling in love, and apparently creating the first human-alien hybrid baby in history. Silence on the other end. "Then please tell me you're joking." "I wish I was." Another pause. "Jake, do you have any idea what you've done? The political ramifications alone could destabilize half the known galaxy." "Yeah, I'm getting that sense." Jake glanced at Sarah, who stood with her hand unconsciously resting on her abdomen. "But I'd do it again." Lisa sighed. "We'll deal with that later. Right now, we need to get you out of this mess. Can the Valiant make it to the Endeavor?" Jake checked his displays. Hull integrity at 47%. Shields barely functional. Main engines running on borrowed time. Maybe. If nobody sneezes too hard. "Start moving. Slow and steady. We'll provide cover." The Earth fleet adjusted formation. 6 destroyers peeled off, creating a protective corridor. The message was clear. Anyone who wanted the Valiant would have to go through them first. Jake plotted a course. "Rodriguez, take us in. Nice and easy." The Valiant limped forward. Every kilometer felt like walking through fire. The ship groaned and shuddered, but she held together. Then Kelvor played his hand. "Commander Grant, I invoke the right of bloodline reclamation. Under Zerillan law, I am entitled to recover my sister by force if necessary. Your interference is an act of war. Your law doesn't apply to our citizens." Lisa shot back. "She is not your citizen. We examine it as Royal South. We granted it." End of discussion. The tactical display showed new movement. The Zerillan ships were powering up weapons, not targeting the Valiant anymore, targeting the Earth fleet. "This is escalating fast," Rodriguez muttered. Sarah stepped beside Jake. "I must speak with him, directly." "Bad idea. He'll just threaten you again, perhaps. Beneath his anger there is reason. Let me try." Jake wanted to refuse. Every instinct screamed to keep her away from Kelvor's manipulations, but he saw the determination in her eyes, the steel that came from generations of royal blood. "Fine, but I'm staying on the line. Saravav nodded. Open a channel. Visual. Rodriguez worked her console. Kaelvor's scarred face appeared on screen. His expression shifted when he saw his sister, a flash of something almost like pain before the mask returned. Sarah. Still hiding behind humans, I see? I am not hiding, brother. I am making a choice. The same choice you would make if you were in my position. I would never disgrace our family by breeding with an inferior species. The words hit like a slap. Jake's hands clenched. But Saravah's voice remained steady. Inferior? Brother, look at them. They mastered faster than light travel in less than a century. They built a fleet that rivals ours in a fraction of the time it took our empire. They are young, yes, but they are not inferior. They are primitive warmongers who have barely left their home system. We were the same once, before the Great Expansion. Before we conquered and absorbed 24 species, we forget our own history. Kaelvor's jaw tightened. History is written by survivors, sister. The humans will not survive contact with the greater galaxy. They are too aggressive, too unpredictable. Better they remain isolated. You mean controlled? Jake cut in. You're afraid of us. Afraid that if we're given a chance, we'll challenge Jarillan dominance. Silence, human. This is between blood relations. Rom. This involves my child. That makes it my business. Bridge fell quiet. Even through the view screen, Jake could see Kaelver processing that statement. The prince's eyes moved to Saravah's midsection, then back to her face. Is it true, then? The medical scans were accurate? Yes, Saravah said. I am carrying Jake's child. A son. The preliminary genetic mapping suggests half human, half Zeralin, the first of his kind. Kaelvor's scarred face twisted through a dozen emotions. The council will never accept this. They will demand the child be brought to Zerillos for examination, for classification, perhaps for termination. Then the council can go to hell, Jake said flatly. You speak of war so casually. Do you know how many billions would die in a conflict between our species? Do you? Jake leaned forward, because from where I'm standing, you're the one pointing guns. We just want to leave in peace. A new voice crackled over the comms. Older, deeper, carrying absolute authority. Prince Kaelver. This is Admiral Chen of Earth's First Fleet. I have 47 warships at my command and orders to retrieve Captain Morrison and Queen Saravah by any means necessary. You have 60 seconds to stand down. The Zerillan ships shifted again. Combat formations. Weapons hot. The Earth fleet mirrored the movement. 2 armadas poised on the edge of violence. Jake's heart hammered. This was it. The moment that would decide everything. War or peace. Life or death. The future of 2 species hung in the balance, all because he'd fallen in love with an 8-foot alien queen. Kaelvor stared at his sister through the view screen. You have changed, Saravah. The sister I knew would never defy the Empire like this. The sister you knew died with father, Sarav replied. I am who I choose to be now, not who the council demands. Then you are no longer Zarlan. Wrong again, brother. I am more Zarlan than ever. I am choosing my own path, building my own future. That is the true spirit of our people, before the Empire made us forget. 30 seconds remained on Admiral Chen's countdown. Jake could see the weapons targeting systems locking on. Both sides were committed now. One wrong move and the galaxy would burn. Kaelvor closed his eyes. When he opened them again, something had shifted. Commander Grant, he said, I withdraw my claim under the right of bloodline reclamation. Queen Saravah is free to go where she wishes. Nobody moved. The silence stretched across space like a held breath. Jake couldn't believe what he'd just heard. Neither could anyone else on the bridge. Say again, Prince? Commander Grant's voice held cautious hope. You heard me correctly. I withdraw my claim. However, I have conditions. Of course you do, Jake muttered. Kaelvor's scarred face hardened. The child must be protected. Not hidden away, but protected. If what my sister claims is true, this hybrid represents something unprecedented. There will be factions on both sides who see the child as a threat, or worse, as a weapon. Saravah stepped closer to the view screen. You would protect my child? After everything you said? I would protect my nephew, Calvor corrected. There is a difference. I do not approve of your choice, sister. I likely never will. But I am not blind to reality. This child exists. Soon, the entire galaxy will know about it. When that happens, everyone will have opinions. Many of those opinions will be violent. Jake felt a chill run down his spine. Calvor was right. They'd been so focused on surviving the immediate threat that they hadn't thought about what came next. A human Zaraline hybrid would attract attention from every corner of known space. Scientists wanting to study it, politicians wanting to control it, extremists wanting to destroy it. What are you proposing? Commander Grant asked. A joint protection detail. Zarillan and human forces working together. The child raised in a secure location, away from both homeworlds. Somewhere neutral. That's not happening, Jake said immediately. You want me to hand over my kid to some military facility? Raise him in a lab? I want your child to survive past his first birthday, Calvor snapped. Use that primitive human brain of yours. Think. The Zarillan Council has hardliners who would rather see the child dead than allow proof of successful hybridization. Your own Earth government has factions that fear alien contamination. Add in the dozen other species in the galactic community, each with their own agendas, and you have a recipe for disaster. Rodriguez pulled up data on her console. Captain, he's not wrong. I'm already seeing chatter on the diplomatic networks. News about the Queen's pregnancy is spreading fast. How? Jake demanded. We haven't told anyone. The Zarellan fleet knew. That's hundreds of soldiers. Somebody talked. Now it's everywhere. Sarava placed a hand on Jake's shoulder. My brother speaks truth, even if his words are harsh. Our child will be hunted from the moment of birth. We cannot fight the entire galaxy alone. We won't be alone. Earth will protect you both. For how long? Calvor challenged. A year? 5 years? Your species is still learning the rules of galactic politics. You do not yet understand the depths of paranoia and prejudice that exist out here. There are species who believe hybridization is a crime against nature, others who see it as an opportunity for genetic manipulation. Your child will be a target from 1,000 different angles. Jake's mind raced. Everything Calvor said made horrible sense, but trusting the Zarillan prince felt like putting his head in a lion's mouth. There's another option. Lisa Grant's voice cut through the tension. The Haven Protocol. What's that? Jake asked. Classified program. Been in development for 3 years, ever since we made first contact with the Zarillan Empire. It's a contingency plan for situations exactly like this. Diplomatic nightmares that require neutral ground and absolute security. Calvor's expression shifted. I have heard whispers of this protocol. A facility built in secret, protected by multiple species, bound by treaties that supersede individual government control. We call it Haven Station. It's located in the Kepler Expanse, technically unclaimed territory. The station is run by a council representing 7 different species, including humans and Jarillans. No single government has authority there. Perfect for protecting individuals who fall between the cracks of galactic law. Jake looked at Saravow. She was processing the information, her silver eyes distant. A neutral location, protected by treaty. It could work. Or it could be a trap, Jake said. How do we know this Haven Station is real? How do we know it's safe? You don't, Lisa admitted. But right now, it's the best option we have. The alternative is endless running, constant fighting, and probably dying before your child is born. The tactical display updated again. More ships were arriving at the edge of the system. Not Zarillan. Not human. The IFF tags showed vessels from the Trilaxian Collective, the Meridian Alliance, even a science ship from the notoriously isolationist Vex Confederation. Word is definitely out, Rodriguez said quietly. Half the galaxy is showing up to watch. Calvor leaned forward. You are out of time, Morrison. Make a decision. Accept protection under the Haven Protocol, or try your luck against every species that wants a piece of your child. Choose now. Jake's hands trembled. 6 months ago, he'd been a simple cargo hauler, running supplies between Earth and Mars. Now he stood at the center of a galactic incident, the father of a child that could change the future of multiple species. The weight of it crushed down on him. Saravah took his hand. Her grip was strong, reassuring. Whatever you choose, we face it together. Jake looked into her silver eyes, saw the love there, the trust, the unshakable faith that they could survive this, somehow. He thought about their child, their son, growing inside her right now, blissfully unaware of the chaos waiting for him. Fine, Jake said. We go to Haven Station. But the second I think something's wrong, the second I smell a trap, we're gone. Understood? Agreed, Lisa said. Calver nodded slowly. I will send 2 of my best warriors to accompany you. They will answer to Saravah, not to me. Consider them a gift to my nephew. I don't want your gifts, Prince. Then consider them a peace offering, or insurance, I care not which. They are skilled, loyal, and will die before allowing harm to come to the child. Before Jake could argue further, alarms blared across the bridge. Rodriguez's face went pale. Captain, we have a problem. One of those new arrivals just launched fighters. They're heading straight for us. The tactical display showed 12 small craft accelerating toward the Valiant. Fast, military grade. And their weapons were armed. IFF tags? Jake demanded. None. They're running dark. No transponders, no identifying signals. Ghost ships. Calver cursed in his native tongue. Assassins. They move faster than I anticipated. The Earth fleet scrambled to intercept. Zerillan ships did the same, but the fighters were already inside the defensive perimeter, weaving through asteroids with suicidal precision. They're targeting us specifically, Rodriguez said, locked on to the Valiant signature. Jake grabbed the controls. Everyone hold on. We're moving. Now. The Valiant's damaged engines screamed as Jake pushed them to full power. The ship lurched forward, dodging between friendly vessels. Behind them, the fighters pursued like hungry wolves. Saravah braced herself. Jake, the baby, the acceleration forces. I know. I'm sorry. But if we don't move, none of us survive. The fighters opened fire. Energy bolts streaked past the viewport. One hit the aft shields, overloading them completely. The ship shook violently. Shields down! Rodriguez shouted, hull taking direct hits. Jake saw it then, a gap in the Earth formation. Small, barely there, but possible. He aimed the Valiant straight for it, praying the old ship had one more miracle left in her. The fighters closed in for the kill. The Valiant screamed through the gap. Jake's hands moved faster than thought, pure instinct guiding the damaged ship through friendly fire and debris. An Earth destroyer launched counter-missiles. 3 of the pursuing fighters exploded in brilliant fireballs. 9 remained. Lawson, I need weapons, Jake barked into the comm. Anything that still fires. Port railgun is functional. Maybe. 50-50 chance it explodes when we use it. I'll take those odds. Jake rolled the ship. The maneuver sent loose equipment flying across the bridge. Saravah held onto the navigation console, her face tight with pain. The acceleration was affecting her, affecting the baby. Rodriguez, you have the railgun. Fire at will. Targeting now. The Valiant's remaining weapons spat metal death. One fighter took a direct hit and disintegrated. Another lost its wing and spiraled into an asteroid. 7 left. But they were getting closer. Too close. Jake could see the pilots now through the fighter cockpits. Not human. Not Zarian. Something else. Faces hidden behind reflective helmets. Anonymous killers bought and paid for. Incoming transmission, Rodriguez said, from the lead fighter. Put it through. A distorted voice filled the bridge. No visual, just audio run through scramblers. Captain Morrison. Queen Saravah, you have been marked for termination. Surrender now and your deaths will be quick. Resist and we make it last. How about option 3? Jake said. You turn around and run before we blow you out of space. Laughter came through the speakers. Brave words from a dead man. The bounty on your heads is substantial, enough to retire on. Nothing personal, understand. Just business. The transmission cut off. The fighters split into two groups, flanking the Valiant from both sides. Professional tactics. Mercenaries definitely, but skilled ones. They're boxing us in again, Rodriguez said. Jake's mind calculated trajectories. The Endeavor was still 300,000 kilometers away. Too far. They'd never make it. He needed something else. Something unexpected. His eyes fell on the tactical display. The asteroid cluster he'd used earlier to destroy the Zerillan warship. Still there. Still rotating. Rodriguez, plot a course back into that cluster. Maximum speed. Sir, we barely survived the first time. The ship won't handle another pass. Then, we better not miss. Jake slammed the controls. The Valiant pivoted and accelerated back toward the deadly rotating asteroids. The fighters followed without hesitation, exactly as Jake hoped. Saraval, get to the medbay. Strap yourself into one of the crash couches. This is gonna get worse. I will not leave the bridge. That's not a suggestion. Our child needs protection from these G-forces. Go, now. For a moment, their eyes locked. Then, Saravad nodded and ran for the door. Her footsteps echoed down the corridor as the ship shook from another hit. Shield still down, Rodriguez reported. Hull integrity at 32%. One more solid hit and we're done. Then, we don't get hit. The asteroid cluster loomed ahead. The gaps between the massive rocks opened and closed with mechanical precision. Jake had studied the pattern during their first pass. Memorized the timing. Now he just had to execute it perfectly. At 300 kilometers per hour, with a damaged ship and 7 fighters trying to kill him. No pressure. Captain, the timing's off, Rodriguez said, reading the navigation data. The rotation has shifted. Whatever caused it before changed the pattern. Jake's stomach dropped. The entire plan depended on predictable movement. If the asteroids were rotating differently, his calculations were worthless. How much has it shifted? 0.7 degrees per rotation. Doesn't sound like much, but at our speed it means we hit solid rock instead of empty space. Jake's hands tightened on the controls. 0.7 degrees. He could adjust for that. Maybe. Probably. The fighters opened fire again. Energy bolts hammered the Valiant's hull. Alarms screamed. Something exploded in the aft compartments. Fire in engineering. Lawson's voice came through, strained. We're venting coolant. I can contain it, but we'll lose engine power in 90 seconds. 90 seconds. Jake looked at the distance to the asteroid cluster. They'd make it. Barely. But without engines, they'd be sitting ducks afterward. Do what you can, Chief. We just need one more minute. The cluster filled the viewport now. Massive rocks spinning in their eternal dance. Jake could see the gaps forming. Closing. Forming again. He counted heartbeats, measuring the rhythm. Everyone, hold on. He dove. The Valiant plunged into the rotating cluster at an angle, threading between two asteroids with less than 50 meters clearance on each side. The fighters followed, their smaller size giving them confidence. Bad choice. Jake rolled the ship 90 degrees and killed the engines. Pure momentum carried them forward. The sudden change in orientation threw off the fighters' targeting computers. Their shots went wide, hitting asteroids instead. 2 asteroids that were about to collide anyway. The impacts triggered a chain reaction. Rock fragments exploded outward like shrapnel. 3 fighters couldn't dodge in time. They vanished in clouds of debris and fire. 4 left. But they were adapting. The lead fighter pulled ahead, trying to cut off the Valiant's escape route. Jake saw the move coming and fired the dying engines one last time. The burst of acceleration pushed them past the gap just as it closed. The lead fighter wasn't as lucky. 2 asteroids caught it like closing jaws. The fighter crumpled. The explosion briefly lit up the cluster interior. 3 left. We're through, Rodriguez shouted. Clear space ahead. But the engines were dead now. The Valiant drifted on momentum alone. The 3 remaining fighters emerged from the cluster behind them, weapons charged. This is it, Rodriguez said quietly. We can't run anymore. Jake refused to accept that. There had to be something. Some option he hadn't considered. He scanned the tactical display desperately. Then he saw them. The two Xyrillan warriors Kael'vor had mentioned. They'd launched from one of the Xyrillan cruisers and small interceptors, fast ships built for quick strikes, and they were accelerating toward the Valiant at incredible speed. Unknown craft approaching, Rodriguez said. Wait, they're broadcasting Xyrillan Royal Guard codes. It's the Prince's warriors, the two interceptors screamed past the Valiant. Their weapons lit up the darkness. Precise, controlled bursts that found their targets with surgical accuracy. Two fighters exploded. The third tried to run, but an interceptor matched its maneuvers perfectly and destroyed it with a single shot. Silence fell across the bridge. All 12 fighters were gone. Jake slumped in his chair, adrenaline draining away. Get me a status report. Everything. Rodriguez worked her console. Engines completely dead. Life support at 60%. Hull breaches on 6 decks. But we're alive. The comm crackled. Huh, huh. A new voice, female, speaking with a thick Xyrillan accent. Captain Morrison, this is Guardian Lissa of the Royal Protectorate. Prince Kael'vor has assigned Guardian Torvin and myself to protect Queen Sereva and the royal child. We will escort you to Haven Station. Do not resist. We are on your side now. Jake looked at the two interceptors holding position alongside the Valiant. Sleek, deadly, bearing the royal crest of the Xyrillan Empire. The very people who'd been trying to kill them an hour ago were now their bodyguards. The galaxy had gone completely insane. Rodriguez, get me Serevava. I need to know she's okay. Already here, Captain. Serevava's voice came through the comm. Tired but strong. The baby and I are both unharmed. Your flying was reckless, dangerous, and absolutely brilliant. Despite everything, Jake smiled. Yeah, well, I learned from the best. You ready to see this Haven Station everyone keeps talking about? As ready as I will ever be. Commander Grant's voice returned. Captain Morrison, the Endeavor is moving to tractor the Valiant. We'll get you fixed up and jump capable within the hour. Then it's straight to Haven. No more detours. No more fights. You've earned a rest. Jake looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there was Haven Station, a place of safety. Or so they claimed. In less than 7 months, his son would be born. The first human Xyrillan hybrid. A child who would change everything. He just had to keep them alive until then. Haven Station materialized through the viewport like something from a dream. The facility hung in the void of the Kepler expanse, a massive ring structure 2 kilometers across. Ships from a dozen different species docked at its ports. Defenses bristled from every surface. Automated turrets and shield generators that could repel a fleet. Impressive, Sereva said. She stood beside Jake on the Valiant's repaired bridge, her hand resting on her abdomen. 3 weeks had passed since the fighter attack. 3 weeks of traveling under heavy escort. 3 weeks of waiting for the next threat. The baby had grown. Sereva's medical scans showed accelerated development, faster than either human or Xyrillan pregnancies. The hybrid genetics were creating something new. Something unprecedented. Haven Station. This is Captain Jake Morrison of the Earth vessel Valiant, requesting permission to dock. Permission granted, Captain Morrison. Base 17. Welcome to Haven. You're safe here. Safe. Jake wanted to believe that. But after everything they'd been through, the word felt hollow. The Valiant glided toward the docking bay. Behind them, the Endeavor held position along with 6 Xyrillan warships. The joint escort had held. Kael'vor had kept his word, at least so far. Guardians Lissa and Torvin flanked the Valiant in their interceptors. The 2 Xyrillan warriors had proven their worth a dozen times during the journey, turning back raiders, negotiating with hostile species, even saving Jake's life when a sabotaged cargo container had exploded in the ship's hold. Jake still didn't fully trust them, but he respected them. The docking clamps engaged with a metallic thud. Jake powered down the engines and stood. Rodriguez, you have the ship. Standard security protocols. Nobody comes aboard without my authorization. Understood, Captain. Jake turned to Sereva. Ready to meet our new hosts? As ready as I will ever be. She smiled, but Jake saw the tension in her shoulders. This was hard for her. Leaving the ship meant leaving their last bit of control. From this moment forward, they were dependent on Haven's protection. The airlock cycled. Jake and Sarava stepped through together. Guardians Lissa and Torvin fell into formation behind them, hands near their weapons. The Zarillan warriors wore light armor now, ceremonial but functional. Their eyes constantly scanned for threats. The docking bay opened into a wide corridor, clean, sterile. Designed to accommodate multiple species, the ceiling was high enough for the tallest aliens, and the gravity adjusted to Earth's standard. A welcoming committee waited. 3 figures. The first was human, a woman in her 50s with steel-gray hair and sharp eyes. She wore the uniform of a diplomat, crisp and professional. The second was Zarillan, male, older than Kael'vor but with the same regal bearing. No scars, though. This one had the look of a scholar, not a warrior. The third was neither human nor Sauralin. It stood 7 feet tall on 4 legs, its body covered in iridescent scales that shifted colors. 2 arms ended in delicate manipulators. Its face was almost insectoid, but with eyes that radiated intelligence. Captain Morrison, Queen Sarava, welcome to Haven Station. I am Director Sandra Walsh, human representative to the Haven Council. This is Counselor Nexvar of the Zarillan delegation, and Counselor Zithrak of the Vexian Collective. The insectoid creature's voice came through a translator device. We are honored by your presence. Your situation is most fascinating from a biological perspective. Jake bristled. My child isn't a science experiment. Of course not, Director Walsh said smoothly. Zithrak meant no offense. The Vexians are a scientific species. They think in terms of data and analysis. My apologies, Zithrak clicked. I should have phrased my greeting more appropriately. What I meant to convey is that your child represents hope. Proof that different species can coexist not just politically but biologically. This is significant. Nexvar stepped forward. His silver eyes locked onto Sarava. My queen, it pains me to see you here under such circumstances. You should be on Zarilos, ruling your people. I rule nothing, Sarava said quietly. My brother holds that power now. I made my choice. A choice that has divided the Empire. There are those who support you, who believe the old ways of forced marriages and political alliances are outdated. Your pregnancy has given them a rallying point. Or a target, Saraviva replied. I am aware of the factions, Counselor. I grew up in that world. Nexvar inclined his head. Indeed. Which is why Haven Station exists, to provide sanctuary for those caught between political forces. You and your child will be protected here. For how long? Jake asked. Until the baby's born. Until he's 5? 10? What's the endgame here? Director Walsh gestured down the corridor. Perhaps we should continue this conversation in more comfortable surroundings. We've prepared quarters for you both. Medical facilities. Everything you'll need for the remaining months of the pregnancy. They walked through Haven Station. The facility was larger than Jake had expected. Multiple rings connected by transport tubes. He saw species he didn't recognize. Aliens of every shape and size, all living together in apparent harmony. Haven houses 3,000 permanent residents. Walsh explained. Refugees, diplomats, scientists, anyone who needs neutral ground. We have representatives from 47 different species. The Council maintains strict neutrality. No single government has authority here? How is that enforced? Jake asked. Zithrak's scales shifted to a deep blue. By treaty and by force. The Haven Accords were signed by every major power in the galaxy. Violation of Haven's neutrality is considered an act of war against all signatories. Even the most aggressive species respect that. Plus we have teeth, Walsh added. Those defense systems you saw aren't for show. Haven can defend itself against a fleet if necessary. They reached a lift. It descended smoothly, taking them deeper into the station. When the doors opened, Jake found himself looking at something unexpected. A garden. Real trees, real grass, real sky. Or rather, a holographic projection so perfect it was indistinguishable from the real thing. The space stretched for hundreds of meters. A park in the middle of a space station. Your quarters are through here, Walsh said. We thought you might appreciate something familiar. The building was small but comfortable. 2 bedrooms, a living area, A kitchen. Windows looked out over the artificial garden. Jake could almost forget they were in space. The medical center is one level down, Walsh continued. Dr. Rains specializes in interspecies medicine. She's prepared a full prenatal care program for Queen Sarava. Sarava moved to the window. This is generous. More than I expected. You're carrying something precious, Nexvar said. A child who could bridge the gap between our species. The Council takes that responsibility seriously. Jake's instincts prickled. Something in the way Nexvar spoke, the careful word choice, set off alarms. What aren't you telling us? The three counselors exchanged glances. Walsh sighed. You're perceptive, Captain. Yes, there's more. The truth is, your child has become a political symbol. Factions on both Earth and Zerillos are using the pregnancy to advance their agendas. Some want unification between our species. Others want complete separation. The extremists want the child destroyed. We know all this, Jake said. That's why we're here. What you don't know is that the Council wants to make a proposal. After the child is born, we would like permission to study his development. Not invasively, just monitoring, documentation. Understanding how human and Zarillan genetics interact could unlock medical breakthroughs for both species. Absolutely not, Jake said immediately. My son isn't going to grow up in a lab. We're not suggesting that, Zithrak interjected. The child would be raised normally, by you and Queen Sarava. We would simply observe and record. Think of it as a comprehensive medical study. The knowledge gained could help future hybrid children, because there will be more, Captain. Your son is the first, but he won't be the last. Sarah turned from the window. And if we refuse? Then you refuse, Walsh said. Heaven's protection isn't conditional on your cooperation. We're offering this as an opportunity, not a demand. But consider the implications. Your child will be unique in the galaxy. Wouldn't you want the best medical care? The most advanced understanding of his physiology? That requires study. Jake looked at Sarava. She met his eyes, and he saw the same conflict there that he felt. They wanted their son to have a normal life. But what was normal for a human Zerillan hybrid? We'll think about it, Jake said finally. That's all we ask. Walsh moved toward the door. Get settled. Rest. Dr. Rains will want to see Queen Sarava tomorrow for a full examination. Until then, you're free to explore the station. Guardians Lissa and Torvin have quarters nearby. They'll maintain their protective duties. The counselors left. The door closed with a soft hiss. Jake and Sarava stood in silence for a long moment. Then Sarava laughed, a tired sound that held no humor. We escaped assassination attempts, fleet battles, and political intrigue, and now we face bureaucrats and scientists. I am not certain which is more dangerous. Jake pulled her close. She rested her head against his chest. He could feel the slight swell of her abdomen pressing against him. Their son, growing, alive, real. We'll figure it out, Jake said. We always do. Outside the window, Haven Station's artificial sun began to set. The garden filled with golden light. For the first time in months, Jake allowed himself to hope. Maybe they really were safe here. Maybe this would work. Maybe their son would have a chance at a real life. Or maybe he was being naive and the real danger was just beginning. 6 months later, Jake stood in the medical center watching monitors flash with data he barely understood. Dr. Rains moved efficiently between instruments, her experienced hands checking readings with practiced ease. Sarava lay on the examination table, her breathing controlled despite the pain. The contractions had started 3 hours ago. Their son was coming early, but not dangerously so. The hybrid physiology meant nothing followed normal timelines. Everything looks good, Dr. Rains said. Her voice carried calm authority. Heart rate strong. Neural activity normal. You're doing great, Sarava. It feels like my body is tearing apart. Sarah gasped. That's fairly standard for childbirth, Rains replied with a slight smile. Human or Zerillan, some things don't change. Jake held Sarava's hand. Her grip was crushing, her strength magnified by pain. He didn't complain. If she needed to break every bone in his hand, he'd let her. The door opened, Guardian Lissa entered, her armor gleaming. "Captain, there's a situation. The council wants to be present for the birth. All 7 members. They're waiting outside." "Absolutely not," Jake said. "This isn't a spectator sport. I explained that." "They insist it's a historic moment. First contact between species on a genetic level. They want to witness it." Sarava's eyes blazed despite her pain. "Tell them, if they enter this room, I will personally throw them out the airlock." Lissa's lips quirked, almost a smile. "I will relay that message, perhaps in more diplomatic terms." She laughed. Jake focused back on Sarava. Another contraction hit. She arched on the table, muscles straining. The monitor spiked. "That's it," Dr. Rains encouraged. "You're almost there. One more push." Sarava screamed, not in pain, in defiance, in strength. The sound echoed through the medical center, primal and fierce. And then another sound joined it, a baby's cry. Jake's world stopped. Dr. Rains moved quickly, her hands cradling something small and wet and alive. She worked with swift precision, clearing airways, checking vitals. "He's perfect," Rains said. Her voice held wonder. "Absolutely perfect." She handed the baby to Sarava. Jake leaned in, seeing his son for the first time. The baby was small, maybe 6 pounds. His skin was pale blue like his mother's, but with undertones of pink, human pink. His eyes opened, revealing silver irises flecked with brown. Human and Zerillan blended seamlessly. "Hello, little one," Sarah whispered. Tears streamed down her face. "I am your mother, and this is your father. We have waited so long to meet you." The baby's tiny hand reached up. Jake extended his finger. The grip was surprisingly strong. "What do we call him?" Jake asked. His voice cracked with emotion. "I have thought about this," Sarava said. "A name that honors both our peoples, both our worlds. What do you think of Marcus?" "Marcus," Jake repeated, "after Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher king, and similar to Marcoon, a legendary Zerillan explorer who believed in unity between species. He was executed for his beliefs, but his writings survived. I read them as a child." "Marcus it is, then." Jake looked at his son. "Marcus Morrison. Welcome to the galaxy, kid." "Sorry in advance for the chaos." The baby's eyes focused on him. For a moment, Jake could have sworn his son understood. Dr. Rains completed her examination. "I need to run comprehensive tests. Genetic mapping, physiological baselines, neural development. But from initial scans, he's healthy. More than healthy. His cellular structure shows remarkable stability. The human and Zerillan DNA has integrated perfectly." "How is that possible?" Jake asked. "Our species evolved on different worlds. The odds of successful hybridization should be astronomical." "They are astronomical," Rains agreed. "Which suggests something we hadn't considered. Maybe our species aren't as different as we thought. Maybe somewhere in the distant past we share common ancestry." Sarava looked up sharply. "That is impossible. Zerillan history goes back 50,000 years. There is no record of contact with Earth." "Recorded history isn't the same as actual history," Rains said. "But that's a question for scientists and historians. Right now, let's focus on getting you both recovered and stabilized." The door burst open. Director Walsh entered without knocking, her face flushed. Behind her came the other counselors, all 7 of them. "We need to see the child," Walsh said. "There are protocols, documentation. The galactic community needs confirmation that the hybrid is viable." "Get out," Jake said flatly. "Captain Morrison, you don't understand the significance." "I understand perfectly. My son was born 5 minutes ago. He's not going on display like a circus attraction." "You want to see him? Make an appointment." "Tomorrow, after his mother has rested." Nexvar stepped forward. "Please, Captain, this is not about spectacle. There are forces already moving. News of the birth has spread. We've intercepted 3 separate assassination attempts in the last hour. Mercenaries, extremists, even a religious cult that believes hybridization is an abomination. We need to establish protocols immediately." Jake's blood ran cold. 3 attempts? In an hour? Haven's defenses stopped them all. Zithrak clicked. But more will come. Many more. Your son's existence challenges fundamental beliefs across dozens of species. Some see that as progress. Others see it as heresy. Sarava held Marcus closer. Then we leave. Take a ship and disappear into deep space. Find somewhere remote where nobody will look for us. You would be found within a week, Walsh said. Haven Station is the safest place in the galaxy right now, but we need to take additional measures. What kind of measures? Jake demanded. Full security lockdown on this level. Guardian detail increased to 24 soldiers. Genetic samples for our medical database so we can track any cloning attempts. And most importantly, a public announcement establishing Marcus's legal status as a protected individual under the Haven Accords. You want to announce his birth to the galaxy? Sarava's voice rose. Make him an even bigger target? He's already a target, Nexvar said gently. Secrecy won't protect him, but legal recognition will. If Marcus is officially registered under Haven protection, any attack on him becomes an attack on the Accords themselves. That means automatic retaliation from 47 member species. Even extremists will think twice. Jake looked at Sarava. She met his eyes. The same question passed between them silently. Trust the Council? Or run? Marcus made the decision for them. He began to cry, a surprisingly loud sound from such a small body. Sarava rocked him gently, humming a Zarlan lullaby. The baby quieted, his silver brown eyes drifting closed. We do this your way, Jake said finally. Full security, legal registration, public announcement. But Marcus stays with us. No separation. No taking him for tests without one of us present. Non-negotiable. Agreed, Walsh said immediately. We'll draft the documentation tonight. The announcement goes out tomorrow morning, Galactic Standard Time. The counselors filed out, leaving Jake, Sarava, and Marcus alone with Dr. Rains. You should rest, Rains said. Both of you. I'll have food brought in. And don't worry about the security detail. Guardians Lissa and Torvin won't let anything happen to your son. She left. The room fell quiet except for Marcus's soft breathing. Jake sat beside Sarava's bed. She shifted, making room for him. They lay together, their son between them, a family. Human, Zaralan, and something new. We did it, Sarava whispered. Against every odd. Against everyone who said it was impossible. We created life. Yeah, Jake said. Now we just have to keep him alive long enough to grow up. He will more than survive, Sarah said fiercely. He will thrive. He will show the galaxy that unity is possible, that differences make us stronger, not weaker. Jake wanted to believe that, wanted to believe their son represented hope instead of fear. But he'd seen the galaxy's darker side, the violence, the prejudice, the endless conflicts between species who couldn't see past their own interests. Marcus stirred, making small sounds. His tiny hand waved in the air. Jake touched it gently, the fingers wrapped around his. In that moment, Jake made a promise. To himself, to Sarava, to their son. Whatever came next, whatever threats emerged from the darkness, he would protect this child. Not because Marcus was a symbol, or a scientific marvel, or a political statement, but because he was their son. And every child deserved a chance to live in a better galaxy than the one they were born into. Even if Jake had to remake the galaxy himself. Outside the window, Haven Station's artificial stars twinkled. Ships arrived and departed. Life continued. And somewhere in the void, enemies plotted. Assassins planned. Extremists gathered their forces. The war for Marcus's future had already begun. Jake just didn't know it yet. The announcement went out at dawn, Galactic Standard Time. Director Walsh stood before holographic cameras broadcasting to every inhabited system. Her voice carried across light years, reaching billions of beings. Citizens of the galactic community, today marks a historic moment. Haven Station confirms the birth of Marcus Morrison, the first successful human Zerillan hybrid. This child represents proof that our species can unite not just politically but fundamentally. We call upon all civilized beings to respect Haven's neutrality and protect this symbol of our shared future. The reaction was immediate and explosive. Within hours, riots broke out on 3 Shirillan worlds. Protesters demanded Servaz's execution for bloodline contamination. Counter-protesters fought back, claiming Marcus represented evolution, not degradation. Earth's government issued statements supporting the child, while quietly deploying additional fleet assets to Haven's sector. Nobody trusted the peace to hold. Jake watched it all from the secure quarters, Marcus sleeping peacefully in his arms. The baby was oblivious to the chaos his existence had triggered. Lucky him. Incoming transmission, Guardian Torvin announced from his post by the door. Prince Kelver. He's requesting a private channel. Jake looked at Sarava. She sat in a chair, recovering but still weak from the birth. She nodded once, put him through. Kelvor's scarred face appeared on the screen, but something was different. The rage was gone, replaced by something Jake couldn't quite identify. Weariness, maybe, or resignation. Sister. Captain Morrison. I have seen the child's image. He is remarkable. Thank you, brother, Sarava said cautiously. That is not what I expected you to say. Many things have changed since you left Zerillos. The Empire is fracturing. Half the council supports your choice. The other half calls for your head. Civil war looms. Jake's grip on Marcus tightened. You're blaming us for political instability? No. I am thanking you for exposing what was already there. Our empire was built on conquest and forced unity. Your son proves there are better ways. Voluntary union. Chosen bonds. Kelver paused. I was wrong to oppose you. Both of you. Sarava stood, moving closer to the screen. Brother, what happened? You sound different. I met someone, a human diplomat named Claire Bennett. She was part of the delegation negotiating trade agreements. We spoke for hours, days. She challenged everything I believed about your species, about superiority and destiny and the right to rule. Kelver's expression softened. I understand now why you chose Jake. Love transcends species. I doubted that before. I do not doubt it anymore. Jake felt something shift in his chest. Respect, maybe, for a man who could admit he was wrong. What does this mean for Marcus? Jake asked. It means he has allies on Zerillos, powerful ones. The Reform faction grows daily. If civil war comes, they will fight for a new empire, one that welcomes unity instead of fearing it. Your son could be the catalyst that changes everything. Or the excuse extremists use to justify violence, Serva said. Perhaps both. History is written in blood, sister. You know this, but for the first time in generations, we have a chance to write a different story. Marcus represents that chance. The transmission cut off suddenly. Alarms blared through Haven Station. Red emergency lights bathed everything in crimson. Security breach, Torvin shouted, his weapon drawn. Multiple hostiles have entered the station. They bypassed outer defenses using stolen codes. Jake's blood turned to ice. How many? At least 30 signatures, armed, moving toward this sector. Lissa burst through the door, her armor scorched. Blood ran down her face. Captain, we need to evacuate now. They have plasma charges. They're going to blow the entire level. Sarava grabbed Marcus from Jake's arms. The baby woke and cried, sensing the tension. She held him close, her body shielding his. Where do we go? Jake demanded. If they control the corridors, emergency escape pods, Lissa interrupted. Benign. Move. They ran. Torvin took point, his rifle sweeping corners. Lissa covered the rear. Jake and Sarava stayed between them, Marcus wailing in his mother's arms. The corridors were chaos. Civilians fled in all directions. Haven security fought running battles with intruders wearing unmarked armor. Bodies lay scattered. The air reeked of ozone and blood. Stairwell ahead, Torvin called out. They descended fast. Jake's legs burned. Sarava, still recovering from childbirth, moved with grim determination. Nothing would slow her while she carried their son. Second level. First level. Almost there. An explosion rocked the station. The floor buckled. Jake grabbed a railing to keep from falling. Sarava stumbled. Lissa caught her, kept her upright. Structural integrity compromised, someone announced over the station-wide comm. All personnel evacuate immediately. They reached Bay 9. The escape pods lined the walls. Small spherical craft designed for 2 passengers each. Maybe 3 if they squeezed. "Get in!" Torvin ordered, opening the nearest pod. "What about you two?" Jake asked. "We are guardians. We fight. You are parents. You run." Lissa's face was fierce. "Protect the royal child. That is all that matters." Before Jake could argue, more explosions shook the bay. A section of wall collapsed. Through the gap he saw them. 30 attackers in black armor, weapons raised. "Go!" Torvin roared. He and Lissa opened fire, laying down suppressing volleys. Jake pulled Sarava into the pod. She clutched Marcus desperately. The baby screamed, frightened by the noise and violence. "Launch!" Jake shouted, slamming the hatch. The pod shot into space just as plasma charges detonated throughout the bay. The explosion lit up the void like a dying star. Jake watched through the viewport as Haven Station, their sanctuary, tore itself apart. Pieces of the massive ring structure tumbled through space. Escape pods scattered in every direction. Ships that had been docked scrambled to get clear. "Lissa," Sarava whispered. "Torvin, they saved us." Jake checked the pod's controls. Basic navigation. Limited life support. No weapons. They were defenseless. "Where are we going?" Sarava asked. "Good question." The pod's computer showed nearby vessels. Most were Haven security or civilian craft. But Jake saw something else. A ship broadcasting Earth military codes. The Endeavor was still in the sector. "Commander Grant." Jake activated the emergency transponder. "This is Captain Morrison. Haven Station has been destroyed. Requesting immediate extraction." Static. Then Lisa Grant's voice, strained but focused. "Jake, we see you. Coming to intercept. Hold tight." The Endeavor's bulk filled space ahead, growing larger. Tractor beams locked onto the escape pod, pulling them in. Minutes later, Jake and Sarava stumbled into the Endeavor's cargo bay. Marines surrounded them immediately, weapons ready, scanning for threats. Lisa Grant pushed through the crowd. "Get them to medical. Nobody gets close without my authorization." A medic reached for Marcus. Sarava pulled back instinctively. "It's okay," Lisa said gently. "Just checking the baby, making sure he's not injured." Sarava reluctantly allowed it. The medic ran a scanner over Marcus, checking vitals. Scared, but physically unharmed. Jake sagged with relief. They'd made it. Barely. But they'd survived. "What happened?" Lisa demanded. "How did attackers breach Haven's security?" "Stolen codes," Jake said. "Someone on the inside helped them. Had to be. We'll investigate. Right now, priority 1 is keeping you 3 alive." Lisa gestured to her second in command. "Set course for Earth. Maximum speed. And broadcast on all channels that any vessel approaching within weapons range will be destroyed without warning." "Sir, that's a bit extreme. Did I stutter? Haven Station was supposed to be the safest place in the galaxy. It got blown up. We're not taking chances." The Endeavor's engines roared to life. Through the viewport, Jake watched Haven's wreckage drift past. Dozens dead. Maybe hundreds. All because his son existed. Sarava seemed to read his thoughts. "This is not your fault. The galaxy was already broken. We simply exposed the cracks. Doesn't make me feel better about the body count. It should not. But dwelling on guilt helps no one. We move forward. We adapt. We survive." Marcus had quieted in her arms, exhausted from crying. His silver-brown eyes blinked slowly, fighting sleep. "What now?" Jake asked. "Earth won't be any safer than Haven. The second we arrive, every extremist in the galaxy will know where we are." Lisa overheard. "We've been working on that. There's a facility in the Rockies, deep underground, built during the pre-FTL wars, designed to survive nuclear strikes. If we can get you there, you'll be protected. Another bunker, better than being dead." Jake couldn't argue with that logic. He looked at Marcus, his son, sleeping peacefully despite the chaos. 3 days old and already hunted by half the galaxy. What kind of life was that? What kind of future could they give him? Sarava took Jake's hand. "We will find a way. We always do. Marcus is strong. He carries the best of both our species. He will not just survive, he will thrive. Jake wanted to believe that. Wanted to believe their son could have a normal life, friends, school. A childhood that didn't involve armed guards and assassination attempts. But looking at the wreckage of Haven Station floating in the void, Jake knew the truth. Normal was gone, maybe forever. Their son was a symbol now, a living declaration that the old rules no longer applied. Some would celebrate that, others would kill to stop it. The war had only just begun, and Marcus, innocent and unaware, was at the center of it all. "Commander Grant," Jake said, "how long until we reach Earth?" 4 days at maximum jump speed. 4 days, 96 hours. Jake would use every second to prepare, to plan, to figure out how to keep his family alive in a galaxy that seemed determined to tear them apart. He looked at Sarava and Marcus, his wife, his son, everything that mattered. "We're going to make it," Jake said. "Not a hope, a promise, whatever it takes. We're going to give Marcus the life he deserves." Sarava smiled through her exhaustion. "Yes, we will." Outside the viewport, stars streaked past as the Endeavor jumped to FTL, racing toward Earth, racing toward an uncertain future, but racing together. And for now, that was enough. Marcus ran through the underground facility's recreation area, his laughter echoing off reinforced walls. Other children chased him, a mix of human kids whose families worked at the base. They played tag, oblivious to the armed guards stationed at every entrance. Jake watched from the observation deck. His son had grown fast, taller than human children his age, but smaller than pure Zaralan youth. His skin remained that unique pale blue with pink undertones. His eyes sparkled silver brown with intelligence beyond his years. "He's happy here," Sarava said, joining Jake at the railing. 5 years had changed her too. She wore human clothes now, simple and practical. Her hair, once kept in traditional Zaralan braids, hung loose. "Happy in a cage," Jake muttered. "This isn't the life I wanted for him. It is the life we have. We make the best of it." Below, Marcus tagged a human girl and sprinted away, his hybrid physiology making him faster than the others. Not fair, but the kids didn't care. They accepted him completely. If only the rest of the galaxy could do the same. "Captain Morrison," a voice crackled through Jake's comm. "Report to command immediately. Priority Alpha." Jake's stomach tightened. Priority Alpha meant crisis. "What now?" "Just get here, sir." Jake and Sarava hurried through the facility's corridors. 5 years underground had made Jake intimately familiar with every tunnel, every checkpoint, every escape route. The base was a fortress, yes, but also a prison. They reached command to find organized chaos. Screens displayed tactical data. Commander Lisa Grant stood at the center, barking orders. "Jake, thank God." She pulled up a holographic display. "We've intercepted communications from the Zarilan Empire. The Civil War is over. The Reform faction won." Sarav gasped. "My brother, Prince Kelvor now rules as Emperor. He's issued a galaxy-wide proclamation. The old council has been dissolved. New laws established. And most importantly, he's recognized Marcus's legal right to exist under Imperial protection." "What does that mean?" Jake asked. "It means half the galaxy just stopped trying to kill your son." Lisa smiled. "The Zarilan Empire was funding most of the extremist groups. With Kelvor in charge, that funding's gone. The assassination attempts should drop significantly." Sarava's hand trembled as she touched the display. "My brother actually did it. He changed the Empire." "With help from his human wife," Lisa added. "Claire Bennett is now Empress. First interspecies marriage recognized by Zarilan law. Sound familiar?" Jake felt something loosen in his chest. 5 years of constant vigilance. 5 years of looking over his shoulder. Maybe finally they could breathe. "There's more," Lisa continued. "Kelvor wants to meet Marcus. He's proposing a state visit. You would travel to Zarillos under full diplomatic protection. Meet with the new Imperial Council. Let them see what the future looks like. Absolutely not, Jake said immediately. We're not putting Marcus on display. It wouldn't be a display. It would be family meeting family. Calvor is Marcus's uncle. Claire is his aunt. They have a daughter now, did you know? 2 years old? Half human, half Zerlin. Marcus has a cousin. Serval looked at Jake. A cousin. Family. He could have family beyond just us. Jake wanted to refuse. Every protective instinct screamed danger, but he saw the hope in Serva's eyes. 5 years of isolation had been hard on her too. She missed her world, her culture, her brother. We'd need guarantees, Jake said finally. Security, exit strategies. The first sign of trouble and we're gone. Already negotiated, Lisa said. Earth's first fleet will escort you. We'll maintain position in orbit during the entire visit. Any threat, and we extract you immediately. Jake looked at the holographic display showing Zerillos, the planet he'd never seen. Serava's home, Marcus's heritage. How long? Jake asked. 2 weeks. Formal ceremonies, diplomatic meetings, cultural exchanges. Calvor wants to show the galaxy that humans and Zarillans can coexist, that Marcus isn't an anomaly but the first of many. And if something goes wrong, then we start the second human-Zarillan war and make the first one look like a border skirmish. Lisa's face hardened. But it won't come to that. Too much has changed. Too many people on both sides want peace. Jake made the decision. We'll go, but on our terms. We control Marcus's schedule. No unvetted personnel get close. And the second I smell a trap, all bets are off. Agreed, they told Marcus that evening. His reaction was pure 5-year-old enthusiasm. Space? Real space? Not just the simulation room? His eyes lit up. Can I see stars? Real stars, Saravov said, pulling him close. And you will meet your uncle, the Emperor of the Zaralin Empire. Do I have to bow? Jake laughed. Probably. Your mom can teach you the proper protocol. Will there be other kids? Your cousin? She's 2. Her name is Arya. Marcus considered this. Okay, I'll go, but only if I can bring my dinosaur collection. Deal. 2 weeks later, the Endeavor dropped out of FTL near Zerillos. The planet dominated the viewport, a world of purple oceans and silver continents. Breathtaking. Sarave stood beside Jake, tears streaming down her face. Home. I never thought I would see it again. Marcus pressed against the viewport, his face full of wonder. It's so big. And pretty. Is that where you're from, Mom? Yes, my heart. That is where I was born, where my ancestors ruled for generations. And now you will walk its surface. You will see the Crystal Palace, the Twilight Gardens, all the places I loved as a child. The Zarillan Imperial fleet surrounded them, not threatening, ceremonial, and honor guard for the visiting dignitaries. Captain Morrison, a voice came through the comm. This is Imperial Command. Emperor Kelvor welcomes you to Zerillos. Please proceed to landing coordinates Delta 7. The palace is prepared for your arrival. Jake guided the Endeavor down through the atmosphere. The descent was smooth, the landing perfect. When the ramp extended, warm air rushed in, carrying scents Jake couldn't identify. Alien flowers, strange spices, the smell of a different world. Calver waited at the bottom of the ramp. He'd changed too. The scarred warrior prince was gone, replaced by an emperor. His robes were magnificent, silver and purple, carrying symbols of authority. But his eyes were softer now, almost kind. Beside him stood Claire Bennett, human, beautiful, wearing Zarillan Imperial garments that somehow worked on her. She held a small child, clearly their daughter Arya. The toddler had Calvor's silver eyes but Claire's human features. Marcus hesitated at the top of the ramp. Jake felt the boy's hand slip into his. It's okay, Jake whispered. They're family. They descended together. Sarava reached the bottom first. Calvor opened his arms and she ran to him. Brother and sister reuniting after 5 years apart. Sister, Calvor said, his voice thick with emotion. You were right about everything. I am sorry it took me so long to understand. You are here now. That is what matters. Calvor turned to Jake. extended his hand, human gesture, peace offering. Jake took it. The grip was firm, respectful. Captain Morrison protected my nephew. For that, you have my eternal gratitude. Just doing what any father would do. Calver knelt, bringing himself to Marcus's eye level. Marcus, I am your Uncle Calvor, your mother's brother. I have wanted to meet you for so long. Marcus studied the Emperor carefully. Then, with perfect 5-year-old logic, asked, "Do you like dinosaurs?" Calvor blinked. Claire laughed. "That's what you ask the Emperor of the Zerlin Empire? If he likes dinosaurs?" "It's important," Marcus said seriously. "I do not know much about dinosaurs," Calvor admitted, "but I would like to learn. Perhaps you could teach me?" Marcus's face lit up. "Really? I have 17 different species in my collection. Well, 16 now. The T-Rex got lost during the last evacuation drill. But I can show you the rest. I would be honored." Claire stepped forward with Arya. "Marcus, this is your cousin? She's been very excited to meet you." The two children regarded each other. Arya hid her face in her mother's shoulder, suddenly shy. "Hi," Marcus said. "I'm Marcus. Want to see my dinosaurs?" Arya peeked out. Nodded once. And just like that, the tension broke. The adults relaxed. Guards lowered their weapons slightly. The moment that could have gone wrong in 1,000 ways became simply what it should have been. A family reunion. They walked toward the Crystal Palace together. Jake took it all in. The architecture. The gardens. The citizens who lined the streets, watching with expressions ranging from curiosity to celebration. Some held signs supporting the new empire, supporting unity, supporting the future that Marcus and Arya represented. "It is not perfect," Calvor said quietly, walking beside Jake. "There are still those who resist, who cling to the old ways, but they grow fewer each day. Your son proved that change is possible. Now we must prove it can last." "No pressure," Jake said dryly. "Indeed. But you have already carried the hardest burden. You protected Marcus when the entire galaxy wanted him dead. Now you can let others share that weight." Jake looked at his son, walking hand in hand with Sarava, chattering about dinosaurs and stars and all the things 5-year-olds care about. For the first time in 5 years, Jake allowed himself to hope. Maybe the war was really over. Maybe Marcus could have a normal life. Maybe the future wasn't as dark as he'd feared. The sun set over Zerios, painting the sky in shades of purple and gold. 2 species, 2 worlds, 2 families joined by love instead of conquest. It wasn't perfect. It never would be. But it was a start. And sometimes a start was all you needed. The Crystal Palace's throne room fell silent as Emperor Calvor stood before the assembled crowd. Ambassadors from 40 systems filled the hall. Human, Cyrillin, Vexian, Trilaxian, species that had never cooperated now gathered under one roof. Jake stood to the side with Sarava and Marcus. The boy fidgeted in his formal clothes, uncomfortable with the ceremony but behaving. 5 years old and already learning diplomacy. "Today marks a new era," Calvor's voice carried through the chamber. "For generations, our species viewed differences as threats. We conquered. We dominated. We feared what we did not understand, but 2 individuals proved us wrong. They showed us that unity creates strength, not weakness." He gestured toward Jake and Sarava. Captain Jake Morrison and Queen Sarava chose love over politics. In doing so, they created something miraculous. Not just a child, but proof that our futures are intertwined. That we can build together instead of destroying each other. Claire stood beside her husband, holding Arya. The toddler waved at Marcus, who waved back, drawing quiet laughter from the crowd. "I propose the Galactic Unity Accord," Calvor continued. "A treaty recognizing the rights of all hybrid individuals. Protection under law. Freedom from persecution. The right to exist without fear. Earth and the Zerillan Empire will sign first. We invite all civilized species to join us." Murmurs rippled through the hall, some approving, others skeptical. Change never came easy. The Earth Ambassador, Admiral Chen stepped forward. The United Earth government supports this accord. We commit our resources to protecting hybrid citizens and promoting peaceful cooperation between species. One by one, ambassadors approached. Some signed immediately. Others hesitated but eventually agreed. The Vexian representative offered scientific support for understanding hybrid genetics. The Trilaxians pledged medical resources. Not everyone signed. 3 species refused outright, their ambassadors storming out in protest. But Jake had expected that. You couldn't change the entire galaxy overnight. Captain Morrison, Kelvor called out. Would you and Queen Sarava join me? They walked forward together, Marcus between them. The crowd watched their every step. Jake felt the weight of history pressing down. This moment would be remembered, studied, debated for generations. Kelvor knelt, bringing himself to Marcus's level again. Marcus Morrison, you are the first, but you will not be the last. More children like you will be born. They will face challenges, prejudice, fear, but they will also have something you never had in your early years. What's that? Marcus asked. Hope. Because of you, the galaxy knows that unity is possible, that different species can create life together, that love transcends biology. Kelvor placed a hand on Marcus's shoulder. You have already changed the universe, nephew. Now you get to grow up in the better world you helped create. Marcus looked up at Jake. Dad, does this mean we can leave the underground base? See real sky? Jake's throat tightened. Yeah, kid, I think it does. Sarava touched Kelvor's arm. Brother, thank you for changing, for fighting to make this possible. I should thank you. You had the courage I lacked. You saw the future while I clung to the past. Kelvor stood, addressing the crowd again. Let it be known throughout the galaxy. The Morrison family is under permanent Imperial protection. Any threat against them is a threat against the Zerillan Empire itself. We will not tolerate violence against those who represent our shared future. Admiral Chen added, Earth echoes that sentiment. Attack the Morrisons, and you attack humanity. We stand united on this. The ceremony continued for another hour. Speeches, formal signing of documents, holographic recordings for the historical archives. Marcus grew restless toward the end, earning him a quick exit with Claire, who understood the limits of 5-year-old patience. Finally, it ended. The dignitaries dispersed. Jake, Sarava, and Kelvor retreated to a private chamber, exhausted. How many do you think will actually honor the accord? Jake asked, pouring himself a drink from a crystal decanter. Perhaps half, Kelvor admitted. The rest will need time, or enforcement. But it is a start. 5 years ago, this gathering would have been impossible. Now it is reality. Claire told me about the resistance you faced, Sarah said. The assassination attempts. The military coup. You risked everything to change the Empire. As you did, to save your child. We are family, sister. We take risks for those we love. A door burst open. Claire rushed in, her face pale. Turn on the news. Now. All channels. Kelvor activated a holographic display. Every channel showed the same thing. A press conference. A human scientist standing before microphones, flanked by Zerillan medical personnel. We are pleased to announce a breakthrough, the scientist said. After 5 years of studying Marcus Morrison's unique genetics, we have developed a treatment. A genetic therapy that can allow any human and Zerillan couple to successfully conceive hybrid children. The process is safe, reversible, and has been approved by both governments. Jake's drink slipped from his hand. Glass shattered on the floor. How it could have slipped outside of our perimeters. What? They used Marcus's genetic data, Sarava whispered. The medical scans from Haven Station, from Earth. They've been studying our son for 5 years. Without telling us, Jake's voice turned dangerous. They experimented using our child's DNA and didn't say a word. Kelvor's expression darkened. This was not authorized. I gave no permission for genetic research beyond basic medical care, the scientist on the screen continued. We estimate that within a generation, thousands of hybrid children could be born. This represents the next step in human-Zerillan relations, true biological unity. Claire's hands shook. This is going to accelerate everything. Every couple in both species who wants children will now have the option. The galaxy isn't ready for this. Neither were we, Jake said. But we didn't get a choice. Now thousands of families won't either. Sarava moved to the window, staring out at Zerulus' purple sky. Is this good or bad? I cannot tell anymore. We fought to protect Marcus, to give him a future. Now his existence has created a future we never imagined. It's both, Jake said. He joined her at the window. We opened a door. Other people are walking through it. That's terrifying and amazing simultaneously. Marcus's voice echoed from the hallway. Dad? Mom? Arya wants to play quantum chess, but I don't know the rules. Can you help? The four adults looked at each other. Here they were, discussing the future of galactic civilization. And in the next room, two hybrid children just wanted to play a game. Go, Kelvor said to Jake and Sarava. Spend time with your son. Claire and I will handle the political fallout. You have done enough. Have we? Jake asked. Because it feels like this is just beginning, perhaps. But you do not have to face it alone anymore. That is what family means. Jake took Sarava's hand. They walked toward their son's laughter, toward normalcy, toward the simple joy of being parents instead of symbols. Behind them, Kelvor and Claire began making calls. Damage control, spin management, the delicate work of preventing panic while embracing progress. In the playroom, Marcus and Arya sat on the floor surrounded by holographic chess pieces. The children moved pieces randomly, making up their own rules, laughing at the chaos they created. That's not how you play, Marcus said. It is now, Arya declared with 2-year-old authority. Okay, new rules then. They adapted, changed, created something new from something old, just like their parents had, just like the galaxy would have to. Jake sat down with them. All right, teach me these new rules. Let's see what you've invented. Sarava joined them, her exhaustion fading as Marcus explained the elaborate, nonsensical game he and Arya had created. For this moment, they were just a family, not symbols, not political statements, just people who loved each other. Outside the palace, the galaxy churned with reaction to the genetic therapy announcement, protests, celebrations, emergency government sessions, species taking sides on whether hybrid children represented evolution or corruption. But inside this room, none of that mattered. Marcus captured one of Arya's pieces with a dinosaur instead of a chess piece. She retaliated by making her queen dance. They dissolved into giggles. You know what? Jake said to Sarava. I think we did okay. The galaxy's a mess. But look at him. Look at our son. He's happy. He's healthy. He's teaching his cousin to cheat at chess. That is not what he is teaching her. Sure looks like cheating to me, Sarava smiled. Perhaps. But he is teaching her something more important. How to create joy in a universe that often offers none. How to adapt when rules no longer make sense. How to build something new without destroying what came before. Jake pulled her close, watched their son play. Their miracle. Their future. We started a revolution, Jake said quietly. No, Sarava corrected. We started a family. The revolution was an unintended consequence. Best kind of revolution. Agreed. Marcus looked up from the game. Dad, you're not paying attention. It's your turn. Right. Which piece is mine again? The purple one, obviously. Jake moved the purple piece. Arya immediately declared he'd broken 3 rules he didn't know existed. Marcus defended him. The argument dissolved into more laughter. This, Jake thought, is what we fought for. Not treaties or accords or political change. Just this. A child who can play. A family who can love. A future where differences make you interesting instead of dangerous. Outside stars began to appear in Zarillos's purple sky. Somewhere up there, other families were making the same choice Jake and Sarava had made. Love over fear. Unity over division. Hope over hatred. It wouldn't be easy. Change never was. But watching Marcus and Arya play, seeing the pure acceptance between them, Jake knew one thing for certain. It would be worth it. Every struggle. Every sacrifice, every sleepless night worrying about his son's safety, all of it led to this moment. And this moment was perfect. Humanity. F. Yeah, Jake whispered. Sarava raised an eyebrow. What was that? Nothing. Just thinking about how far we've come, how far we still have to go, and how lucky I am to be taking that journey with you. She leaned against him. The luck is mutual. Marcus won the game through rules nobody understood. Arya demanded a rematch. The adults agreed to referee. And somewhere in the stars above, the future they'd fought for was beginning. One hybrid child at a time, one family at a time, one choice at a time. Until the galaxy finally understood what Jake and Sarava had known from the start. Love doesn't see species, it sees souls. And when souls connect, universes change. 10 years later, Marcus stood at the observation window of the Galactic Academy, watching ships arrive from across known space. 16 years old now, taller than his father, with his mother's grace and his own unique presence. His pale blue skin had deepened slightly with age. His silver-brown eyes held wisdom beyond his years. Behind him, other hybrid students filled the common area. Human Zerillan like himself, Vexian Trilaxian, even a rare human Meridian child. Dozens of them. The first generation born into a galaxy that was slowly, painfully, learning to accept them. Morrison, you coming? His roommate called out. Kai Chen, fully human but adopted by a Zerillan family. The galaxy had become complicated in beautiful ways. Yeah, 1 second. Marcus touched the window. Out there, his parents were arriving for the anniversary ceremony. 10 years since the Unity Accord. 10 years since everything changed. He'd spent those years becoming his own person. Not just the first hybrid. Not just a symbol. Marcus Morrison, student-athlete, friend. He played quantum chess competitively now, had a girlfriend who could fly ships better than most pilots twice her age, and was considering a career in xenobiology. Normal things. His communicator buzzed. A message from his father. Your mother is insisting we're late even though we're early. Some things never change. See you at the ceremony. Proud of you, kid. Marcus smiled. His parents had built a life on Earth after the Unity Accord was signed. His father consulted for the Space Corps, training new captains. His mother served as an ambassador, bridging human and Zerillan interests. They'd given him the most valuable gift possible, normalcy. Well, as normal as life could be when you were the catalyst for galactic social change. Marcus Morrison to the auditorium, the Academy's AI announced. Ceremony begins in 15 minutes. He headed down corridors filled with students from every corner of the galaxy. They didn't stare at him anymore. He was just another student. The novelty had worn off years ago. The auditorium was packed. Marcus took his place on stage alongside other notable hybrids. Arya sat next to him, 12 years old now and already smarter than half the professors. His cousin had inherited her father's tactical mind and her mother's human determination. Nervous? Arya whispered. Should I be? You're giving the opening address, in front of 5,000 people, and being broadcast to 200 worlds. Oh, that. Marcus hadn't wanted this role, but his parents had convinced him. Your voice matters, his mother had said. Show them who you've become. The lights dimmed. Emperor Calvor took the stage first, his presence commanding despite his age. 10 years of rule had been kind to him. The Zerillan Empire was stronger, more unified than ever. 10 years ago, we took a chance on the future, Calvor began. We recognized that our children, regardless of their genetic heritage, deserved protection and opportunity. Today, we celebrate what that choice has created. He gestured to the hybrid students. These young people represent everything the Unity Accord promised. They are brilliant, ambitious, and unbound by the prejudices that limited their parents' generation. They will build a galaxy we can only imagine. Admiral Chen spoke next, representing Earth. His words echoed Kelvor's message. Unity, progress, hope. Then it was Marcus's turn. He stood, walking to the podium on legs that suddenly felt uncertain. 5,000 faces watched him. Billions more on screens across the galaxy. The pressure should have crushed him. Instead, he thought about his parents, about Guardians Lissa and Torven who died protecting him, about all the people who'd fought so he could stand here. I'm supposed to tell you what it's like being the first hybrid, Marcus began. His voice carried through the auditorium. But honestly, how it could have slipped outside of our perimeters. I don't remember being the first. I just remember being me. He saw his parents in the front row. His father gave him a small nod. His mother's eyes shone with tears. For my entire childhood, people told me I was special, different, and maybe that's true. But you know what I learned? Everyone's special. Everyone's different. Everyone's important. My genetics just made it more obvious. Marcus gestured to his fellow hybrids. We're not the future. We're just part of it. The future belongs to everyone willing to build it together. Human, Zerillan, Vexian, Meridian, whatever. Species doesn't matter. What you do with your life matters. He paused, gathering his thoughts. My parents fell in love when it was illegal, when the entire galaxy said it was impossible. They didn't care. They chose each other anyway. And yeah, that started a revolution. But revolutions don't stay started. They need people to keep them going. Marcus looked directly at the camera broadcasting across the galaxy. So here's my message. To every kid out there who feels different, who doesn't fit the boxes society created, who loves someone their world says they shouldn't, keep going, keep loving, keep being yourself. Because the people who came before us fought to give us that choice. Don't waste it. The auditorium erupted in applause. Marcus stepped back, his part done. Other speakers followed, but he'd barely heard them. He'd said what needed saying. After the ceremony, his parents found him in the crowd. That was perfect, his mother said, pulling him into a crushing hug. Even at 16, he was still smaller than her 8-foot frame. You made us proud, his father added, though you always do. How it could have slipped outside of our perimeters, the best speeches usually do. They walked through the academy together, visiting classrooms, meeting other families. Marcus introduced his parents to his girlfriend Elena, a human Vexian hybrid with scales that shifted colors when she laughed. His father handled it well. His mother interrogated Elena about her intentions. Family background, some things truly never changed. As sunset approached, they found themselves alone on the observation deck, the same place Marcus had stood that morning. You know what I was thinking about? Marcus asked. All those years underground, running from assassins, the fear, the isolation. I am sorry you had to experience that, his mother said quietly. Don't be. It taught me something important, that safety isn't about hiding, it's about standing up, about refusing to let fear win. Marcus looked at his parents. You could have hidden forever, kept me locked away, but you didn't. You brought me here, gave me a real life. Thank you for that. His father's voice was rough with emotion. We just wanted you to be happy. I am, and not just me. Look around. Hundreds of hybrid kids. Thousands across the galaxy. Living normal lives. Going to school. Falling in love. Being people instead of political statements. That's because of what you started. His mother touched his face gently. No, my son. That is because you showed them it was possible. Your father and I created life, but you gave that life meaning. They stood together, watching ships come and go, carrying students, families, dreamers, all of them building the future one choice at a time. I've been thinking about my future, Marcus said. After graduation, and, his father asked, I want to help other hybrids, the ones in systems that haven't signed the Unity Accord, the ones still hiding. I want to show them they're not alone, his mother smiled. That sounds like your father, always running toward danger instead of away from it. Hey, I resemble that remark, his father protested. You see, a family trait. Marcus laughed. His parents joined in. 3 people who'd changed the galaxy, just being a family. Somewhere in the academy, Arya was probably cheating at quantum chess. Elena was likely running flight simulations. Kai was definitely studying for exams he didn't need to study for. Normal things. Beautiful things. The galaxy had fought against their existence, had tried to prevent their birth, had done everything possible to make them impossible, and failed. Because love didn't ask permission, life didn't wait for approval, and the future belonged to those brave enough to claim it. "Come on," Marcus said. "I promised Elena you'd tell her embarrassing stories about me." "All of them?" his father asked with a grin. "Jake, no," his mother warned. "Jake, yes. This is my chance to mortify our son. I've been waiting 16 years for this." They walked back into the academy together, father, mother, and son. Human Zerillan and something beautifully new. The first family, but no longer the only one. And that made all the difference. 10 years ago, they'd started a revolution. Today, that revolution had become normal. Tomorrow, it would simply be life. And somewhere in the stars, a young couple was probably making the same choice Jake and Sarava had made. Loving across species lines, defying expectations, creating their own future. The cycle would continue, one family at a time, one choice at a time, one brave moment at a time, until the day when nobody remembered what the fight had been about, when hybrid children were just children, when love was just love, when humanity, became everyone. That day was coming. Marcus could feel it, and he couldn't wait to see it. 20 years after that ceremony, Marcus Morrison stood in the command center of Unity Station, the largest hybrid settlement in the galaxy. 36 years old, married to Elena for a decade, father of 3 children who played in the station's gardens without fear. The galaxy had transformed beyond recognition. Hybrid children numbered in the hundreds of thousands now. The Unity Accord had expanded to include 73 species. Interspecies relationships were common enough to be unremarkable. The revolution his parents had started had become simply how things were. But peace was never permanent. "Captain Morrison, we have a situation," his second-in-command reported. Commander Zara Vex, a Vexian-Trilaxian hybrid who'd served under Marcus for 5 years. Unknown vessels just dropped out of FTL at the system's edge. 12 ships. Configuration doesn't match any known species. Marcus pulled up the tactical display. The ships were organic-looking, biological rather than mechanical. Their energy signatures pulsed with unfamiliar patterns. "Hail them. Standard first contact protocols." "Already tried." No response. "Wait, they're broadcasting now. Audio only." A voice filled the command center. Deep, resonant, alien in ways that made Marcus's hybrid instincts scream danger. "We are the Collective. We have observed your genetic experiments with disgust. You have contaminated pure bloodlines, created abominations that violate natural law. This ends now. Surrender your hybrid populations for cleansing or be destroyed." The transmission cut off. Marcus's hands clenched. 20 years of peace, shattered in seconds. Battle stations. "Get me the Earth Defense Command and Zerillan Imperial Fleet. Now." Alarms blared through Unity Station. Thousands of residents, mostly hybrids and their families, began emergency evacuation procedures they drilled but never expected to use. Marcus's communicator buzzed, his father's voice, strained but steady. "Marcus, your mother and I are on Earth. We see the reports. What do you need?" "I need those ships gone before they reach the station. We have children here, Dad. My children." "I know. The cavalry's already moving. Hold them off for 30 minutes. Help is coming." 30 minutes. Marcus looked at the tactical display. The collective ships were accelerating. Fast. They'd reach firing range in 15. "All defensive batteries online," Marcus ordered. "Launch fighter screen. Get me every combat-capable ship in the system." Unity Station had defenses. Good ones. But it was a civilian installation, not a fortress. Against 12 warships with unknown capabilities. The odds were grim. Elena appeared on the command deck. Their 3 children with her. His daughter, 10 years old, blue-skinned with human features. His twin sons, 8. Who looked more human but moved with Zerillan grace. "The evacuation ships are full," Elena said. Her Vexian scales had turned stress red. "Not enough room for everyone. Some families are refusing to leave their children behind. Marcus made the hardest call of his life. Prioritize children under 12. We'll hold the station until reinforcements arrive. Elena's eyes widened. Marcus, that's 5,000 people. I know, but 10,000 children live. We make the choice we can live with. She touched his face gently, a gesture that reminded him painfully of his mother. I'm staying with you. The kids go with your parents. They're already en route to pick them up. Elena, don't! We built this place together. We defend it together. Before Marcus could argue, the collective ships opened fire. Energy beams unlike anything in the galactic database slammed into Unity Station's shields. The entire structure shuddered. Lights flickered. People screamed. Shields down to 60%, Zara reported. One volley. They cut through 40% in one volley. Marcus grabbed the station-wide comm. All residents, this is Captain Morrison. Unknown hostiles are attacking. We are defending. We will hold. But if you can fight, arm yourselves. If you can't fight, protect the children. This station has survived 20 years. It will survive tonight. He cut the comm and opened a channel to the collective ships. This is Captain Marcus Morrison of Unity Station. You attack civilians, families, children. Whatever your grievance with hybrid life, they don't deserve to die for it. The response was cold. They are genetic pollution. Their existence is the crime. Your compassion is noted and irrelevant. You have 10 minutes to surrender before we destroy your station entirely. Marcus looked at the evacuation ships launching from the lower bays. His children were on one of them, being carried away to safety by his parents. At least they'd survive. Zara, concentrate all power to forward shields. Recall the fighters to defensive positions around the evacuation ships. We're buying time, not winning battles. Sir, that leaves the station vulnerable. The station is already dead. Those ships can't be stopped with what we have. But the people evacuating can be saved. That's the mission now. The collective ships advanced. Unity Station's defenses fought back desperately. Railguns fired. Missiles launched. Fighters harassed the larger vessels. It wasn't enough. Another volley slammed into the station. Sections of the outer ring tore away, venting atmosphere and bodies into space. Marcus watched people die. People he knew, friends, colleagues, families who'd believed Unity Station represented safety. 4 minutes until the Earth fleet arrives, Zara said. 3 until the Zarillans. We just need 2. An explosion cut her off. The command deck's ceiling collapsed. Marcus dove, pulling Elena with him. Debris crashed where they'd been standing. When he looked up, half his crew was gone, dead or dying. The tactical displays were offline. Emergency lighting painted everything red. Zara? Marcus called out. A weak voice responded. Here, trapped, left leg crushed. Marcus, you need to abandon the station. It's over. Not while people are still evacuating. Damn your heroics. Save yourself. Save your family. Marcus pulled himself to what remained of the communication console. Managed to get a channel open. All evacuation ships, this is Morrison. Jump to FTL the second you clear the gravity well. Don't wait. Don't look back. Go. Through the shattered viewport, he saw the last ships accelerating away. Saw his children's transport among them, protected by fighters. Safe. They'd be safe. The collective ships moved into position around Unity Station. Weapons charged for the killing blow. Then, space itself seemed to tear apart. Jump portals erupted everywhere. Not the standard FTL entry. Something massive. Something unprecedented. Through the portals came ships. Hundreds of them. Earth's entire defense fleet. The Zarillan Armada. Vexian science vessels retrofitted with weapons. Trolaxian carriers. Meridian battleships. And leading them all, a ship Marcus recognized. The Endeavor. Older now. Upgraded. But still flying. Still fighting. His father's voice crackled through the damaged speakers. Marcus, this is your old man? Sorry we're late. Had to pick up some friends. Hope you don't mind we brought the whole damn galaxy with us. The combined fleet opened fire. The collective ships, outnumbered 10-1, tried to retreat. They didn't make it. The battle was brutal and short. Overwhelming firepower met unknown technology. The unknown technology lost. Within minutes, 11 collective ships were debris. The 12th, damaged but functional, attempted to jump to FTL. Emperor Kelvor's voice cut across all channels. Negative. That ship does not leave this system. Disable and capture. I want answers. Zarillan interceptors swarmed the fleeing vessel. Precision strikes took out its engines. Boarding pods attached like parasites. Silence fell across the system. Marcus pulled himself to his feet, helped Elena up. Together they surveyed the wreckage of Unity Station. Thousands dead. Entire sections destroyed. 20 years of building shattered in 20 minutes. But the children had escaped. The families had survived. The future remained. Captain Morrison, Admiral Chen's voice came through. Rescue and recovery teams are inbound. Hold tight. You did good, son. Did he? Marcus wasn't sure. He'd saved the children but lost the station. Protected the future but sacrificed the present. Elena took his hand. You made the right choice. Did I? How many died because I chose to defend instead of evacuate everyone? How many lived because you bought them time? Marcus, command means impossible decisions. You made yours. Now we live with it and rebuild. The Endeavor docked with what remained of Unity Station. Jake and Sarava came through the airlock, 3 grandchildren in tow. His daughter ran to him, crying. His sons tried to be brave but failed, tears streaming down their young faces. Marcus held them all. His family, alive, safe. That had to be enough. The collective ship, Calva reported over the comm. We've captured its crew. Preliminary interrogation reveals there are more. Many more. An entire species dedicated to genetic purity. They see hybrid life as existential threat. How many? Marcus asked, though he dreaded the answer. Intelligence estimates at least 50,000 ships, maybe more, scattered across unexplored space. The vessel we captured was a scout force. When it doesn't report back, they'll send more. Jake approached his son. Marcus, the galaxy's going to need someone to coordinate defense. Someone who understands what we're fighting for. The Council wants you to command the unified fleet. I just lost Unity Station. Thousands died on my watch, and hundreds of thousands lived because of your decisions. This isn't about guilt, son. It's about who can do the job, who the hybrid communities will trust, who represents what we built. Jake gripped his shoulder. Your mother and I started something. You continued it. Now you need to protect it. Serva joined them, her 8-foot frame towering but her voice gentle. The collective sees our children as abominations. They will not stop with Unity Station. They will hunt every hybrid in the galaxy unless we stop them first. You know this fight better than anyone. You've lived it your entire life. Marcus looked at his children, at Elena, at the survivors pulling themselves from the wreckage, at the fleet that had assembled from across the galaxy to defend one station. They'd come, all of them, different species, different governments, united by a shared belief that hybrid life deserved protection. His parents had proved love could cross species lines. He'd proved the children of that love could thrive. Now he had to prove they could survive. All right, Marcus said, I'll take the command. But we do this right, not just military defense. We find out why the collective hates us. We try negotiation before annihilation. We show them that hybrid life isn't pollution, it's evolution. Calver's image appeared on a working display. Agreed. But if they refuse peace, we bring war. Total war. The galaxy has spent 20 years learning to love. Time to remember how to fight. Marcus Morrison, 36 years old, child of 2 species, father of 3 hybrids, accepted command of the largest unified military force in galactic history, not because he wanted to, because someone had to, because the future his parents had fought for, that he'd grown up in, that his children deserved, was under threat, and he'd be damned if he let it die without a fight. Send word across all Unity Accord signatories, Marcus ordered. We mobilize, we prepare, and we defend every hybrid child in this galaxy, all of them, no matter the cost. The command was given, the fleet responded, and across the stars a new chapter began. The revolution had become normal. Now normal had to become militant. Humanity? Yeah. No. Everyone, fuck yeah. Together. Always. Until the last star died. 5 years of war had aged Marcus beyond his years. 41 now, with scars from battles fought across 100 systems. The collective had been relentless. 50,000 ships, just as intelligence predicted. Maybe more. They'd pushed deep into Unity Accord territory, destroying hybrid settlements, targeting mixed families, spreading their doctrine of genetic purity with fire and blood. But the galaxy had pushed back harder. Marcus stood on the bridge of the Unity, the flagship built specifically for this war. A joint construction of every Accord species, it represented everything the collective hated. Its crew was deliberately mixed. Human, Zerillan, Vexian, Tralaxian, Meridian, and hybrids. Lots of hybrids. Final position confirmed, his tactical officer reported. Lieutenant Kira Vex, his niece, Arya's daughter. The family tree had grown complex and beautiful. The collective's main fleet is gathered at the Genesis Nebula. 90% of their remaining forces. 15,000 ships. Marcus studied the holographic display. 5 years of fighting had reduced the collective from 50,000 ships to 15. But those 15,000 were their best. Their most fanatical. The ones who'd rather die than accept a galaxy where different species could love each other. Status of our forces? 23,000 ships. Every species that signed the Unity Accord sent their fleets. We outnumber them, but this is their last stand. They'll fight like it. Marcus activated the fleet-wide channel. 23,000 ships. Hundreds of thousands of soldiers. All waiting for his words. 5 years ago, the collective attacked Unity Station. Killed thousands. Tried to exterminate hybrid life because our existence challenged their beliefs. They failed. We're still here, stronger than ever. He paused, gathering his thoughts. Somewhere in this fleet, his parents served aboard the Endeavor. His children, now teenagers, worked communications on Zerillan vessels. Elena commanded the medical frigate that had saved countless lives. Everyone he loved was here, ready to fight, ready to die if necessary. The collective believes genetics determines worth, that mixing species creates weakness. Let's show them how wrong they are. Every hybrid in this fleet, every mixed crew, every family that chose love over prejudice, you're proof that unity creates strength. Marcus looked at his bridge crew. Kira at tactical. Commander Zara, recovered from her injuries at operations. A Tralaxian navigator, a Meridian weapons officer. And at his right hand his cousin Arya, now his executive officer. We didn't start this war. But today, we end it. All ships, attack formation. Let's bring our people home. The fleet moved as one. 23,000 vessels converging on the Genesis Nebula. The collective ships rose to meet them, their organic hulls pulsing with bioluminescence. The space between the fleets shrank. 10,000 KPs. 5,000. 1,000. Then someone on the collective side broke formation. A single ship, smaller than the others, accelerated toward the Unity. Not attacking, broadcasting on all frequencies. Hold fire, Marcus ordered. Let it approach. The ship stopped 100 meters from the Unity's bow. A voice came through, speaking accented but understandable Galactic Common. Captain Morrison, I am Savant Tresh of the Collective. I request permission to come aboard. To negotiate. Arya turned to Marcus. It's a trick. Has to be. But we try negotiation first. That's what we promised. Marcus opened a channel. Savant Tresh, you're welcome aboard. But my security teams will be armed. Attempt anything hostile and this conversation ends badly. Understood. 20 minutes later, Marcus sat across a conference table from something he'd never seen before. Savant Tresh was humanoid but distinctly alien. Crystalline skin that refracted light. 6-fingered hands. Eyes that saw spectrums beyond normal vision. And she was terrified. 5 years ago, I supported the attacks on hybrid settlements. Tresh began without preamble. I believed genetic purity was sacred. that your children were aberrations that needed to be cleansed. I was wrong. Marcus said nothing, just waited. The collective is dying, Captain. Our species is sterile. Has been for 3 generations. We reproduce through cloning only, perfect genetic copies passed down through millennia. We thought this made us superior, but it made us extinct. Every year, fewer clones survive to maturity, genetic degradation from endless copying. Within 200 years, no collective will remain. Tresh's crystalline skin shifted colors, showing emotion Marcus couldn't interpret. We saw your hybrids, healthy, viable, thriving despite combining radically different genetics. And we hated you for it, because you had what we'd lost, the ability to create new life, to evolve, to change. So you tried to kill us out of jealousy, Arya said flatly. Out of fear. If we couldn't reproduce naturally, why should you? Why should impure bloodlines succeed where our perfect genetics failed? Tresh looked directly at Marcus. But 5 years of war taught me something. Your strength comes from diversity, how weakness from uniformity. We chose genetic purity. You chose genetic mixing. History is judging which path leads to survival. Marcus leaned forward. Why are you here, Savant Tresh? Why betray your people? Because they're not listening. The High Council still believes genetic purity is paramount. They'd rather die than admit we were wrong. Rather take the galaxy with us than accept we failed. Trash produced a data crystal. This contains everything. Collective fleet positions, command codes, weakness in our ship designs, everything you need to win. In exchange for what? Permission to study hybrid genetics. Not to weaponize. To understand. If your species can successfully mix, maybe ours can too. Maybe we can save ourselves by abandoning the very beliefs that are killing us. Arya grabbed the crystal, scanning it. Data's legitimate. This is everything she claims. Marcus studied Tresh carefully. How do I know this isn't a trap? That your High Council didn't send you to feed us false information? You don't. But consider this. If I'm lying, you lose a battle you'd probably win anyway with superior numbers. If I'm telling the truth, you save millions of lives. Both sides. She's got a point, Arya admitted reluctantly. Marcus made the call. We'll use your data, but Savant Teresh, you stay aboard the Unity. If this is a trap, you die first. I would expect nothing less. The Unity's computers analyzed the collective data, confirmed its accuracy. Marcus shared it with the entire fleet. Battle plans adjusted. Strategies reformed. All ships, Marcus broadcast. Intelligence suggests the collective fleet is preparing a final suicidal charge. They'll try to take as many of us as possible when they die. We're not letting that happen. Precision strikes on command vessels. Disable their coordination. Force them to surrender or scatter. The fleet acknowledged. The battle began. It was nothing like Marcus expected. The collective fought with desperate fury, yes, but also with confusion. Their command ships fell quickly, cut down by precise strikes targeting exact weak points. Their formations collapsed. Ships broke away, fleeing into the nebula. Within 6 hours, it was over. Not a glorious victory. A sad one. 8,000 collective ships destroyed or disabled. Their species' last hope for military dominance shattered. Marcus opened a channel to the remaining collective vessels. This is Captain Morrison. The war is over. You lost. But you don't have to die. Power down weapons. Accept humanitarian aid. Let us help you find a future that doesn't require everyone else's extinction. Silence. Then, one by one, collective ships powered down. Thousands of them. Surrendering not to superior force but to exhaustion. To the realization that genetic purity had led them to the brink of species death. Savant Tresh stood beside Marcus, watching her people surrender. Tears ran down her crystalline face. 5 years of killing, millions dead. For what? Pride? Fear? Refusal to admit we were wrong? For the same reason every war is fought, Marcus said quietly. Because people would rather destroy others than change themselves. The cleanup took weeks. Collective survivors were given medical care, temporary housing, access to hybrid genetic research under strict ethical guidelines. Some refused all help, choosing to die in isolation. Others, like Tresh, began the painful process of accepting that everything they'd believed was built on lies. Marcus's family gathered aboard the Unity once the immediate crisis passed. His father, older now, his hair gray. His mother, still tall and imposing but moving slower. His children, teenagers who'd grown up during wartime. Elena, exhausted from 5 years of emergency medicine. And Emperor Kael'vor, who'd led the Zerillan forces personally at age 72. Still scarred, still fierce, but finally at peace. "We did it," Kael'vor said simply. "Defended the future we built, protected our children's right to exist. At a terrible cost," Seraph added. "We'd served as diplomatic liaison throughout the war, trying desperately to find peaceful solutions. Hybrid and pureblood alike. Entire settlements destroyed. Families shattered. But more survived than died," Jake said. "More chose unity than purity. That has to count for something." Marcus looked at his family. 3 generations. Human, Zerillan, hybrid, all together. All alive. "It counts for everything," Marcus said. "The collective attacked because hybrid life proved their worldview wrong. We survived because we fought for everyone, not just ourselves. That's the difference between their way and ours." His daughter Maya, 16 and already accepted to the Galactic Academy, spoke up. "Dad, what happens now? To the collective? To us? Now we rebuild. Again, we help the collective find a new path forward. We strengthen the Unity Accord. We make sure the next generation doesn't have to fight the same battles. Will it work?" his son Ethan asked. "Or will someone else attack us 20 years from now?" Marcus smiled sadly. "Probably. There will always be someone who fears change, who sees difference as threat instead of strength. But every time we survive, we prove them wrong. Every hybrid child born proves them wrong. Eventually, maybe, the galaxy will run out of reasons to hate us." Arya joined the family gathering, her own children in tow. Another generation, more hybrids. The exponential growth of acceptance. "Uncle Marcus, the Accord Council wants to see you. They're talking about some kind of memorial for everyone who died defending hybrid rights." Marcus nodded. "But first, I need a moment with my family." They stood together on the Unity's observation deck. Outside, the Genesis Nebula glowed with post-battle debris. Ships moving between the wreckage, rescuing survivors, recovering the dead. 41 years ago, Seraph said quietly, "I chose to run away with a human cargo hauler instead of marrying for political advantage. It seemed like a small choice at the time. Best small choice ever made," Jake said, taking her hand. "It led to this," Seraph continued. "To Marcus, to grandchildren, to an entire generation of hybrid life, to a war that proved we deserve to exist, all from one choice to follow my heart instead of my duty." Marcus put his arms around his parents. "You didn't just choose each other. You chose the future. Everything else followed from that." The family stood together, watching new ships arrive, relief vessels, construction crews, diplomats beginning the long process of integrating collective survivors into the galactic community. The war was over, but the work continued. It always would, because change wasn't a destination. It was a journey, one that required constant effort, constant vigilance, constant willingness to fight for what you believed in. Marcus Morrison, 41 years old, veteran of a 5-year war, father of 3, grandson of the revolution, understood that now. His parents had started something. He'd protected it. His children would expand it. And someday, maybe, their grandchildren would live in a galaxy where none of this was necessary, where hybrid life was so normal that nobody remembered why it was ever controversial. That day wasn't today, but it was coming. One choice at a time, one family at a time, one brave moment at a time. Until the galaxy finally understood what Jake and Seraph had known from the very beginning. Love doesn't ask for permission, life doesn't wait for approval, and the future belongs to those who dare to build it Together. Always. Until the last star dies. Humanity, F.A. Yeah. Everyone, F.Yeah. Forever. 50 years after the war ended, Marcus Morrison sat in his garden on New Unity, the station rebuilt from the ashes of the original. 91 years old now, his blue-tinted skin weathered with age, his silver-brown eyes dimmed but still sharp. Around him, the garden bloomed with flowers from 100 worlds. Earth roses grew beside Zerillan twilight blossoms. Vexian crystal plants refracted sunlight into rainbows. The galaxy, condensed into one peaceful space. His great-grandchildren played nearby, dozens of them. The family tree had become impossibly complex. Fourth-generation hybrids who carried genetics from 5, 6, sometimes 7 different species. Children who represented everything the collective had feared and everything the Unity Accord had promised. Beautiful, healthy, normal. Elena sat beside him, 93, and still fierce despite the years. Her Vexian scales had faded to soft pastels, but her mind remained razor-sharp. "You're brooding again," she said, reflecting. "Not much of one at our age." Marcus smiled. "I was thinking about my parents. They would have loved this, seeing how far it all came." Jake had died 12 years ago. Peaceful in his sleep at 103, Sarah Va had followed 6 months later, her heart simply giving out. They'd been buried together on Earth in a ceremony attended by representatives from 200 species. "They saw enough," Elena said gently. "They lived to meet their great-grandchildren, saw the collective integrate into the Accord, watched hybrid populations grow into the millions. They knew their legacy was secure," a young voice called out. "Great-Grandpa Marcus, come see." His great-granddaughter Lyra ran toward him. 7 years old, fourth-generation hybrid with traits from human, Zerillan, Vexian, and Meridian ancestors. Her skin shifted colors with her emotions. Her eyes held flecks of a dozen shades. She was genetically impossible by old standards, and utterly perfect. "What is it, little star? I made something in school. A presentation about you and great-great-grandma Sarava and great-great-grandpa Jake. About how everything started. Want to see?" Marcus exchanged a glance with Elena. "Of course. Show me." Lyra activated her school tablet. A holographic projection appeared, showing images Marcus hadn't seen in decades. His parents, young and desperate, fleeing Zerillan warships. His own birth certificate from Haven Station. Battle footage from Unity Station's destruction. The surrender of the collective fleet. "My teacher says you're heroes," Lyra said proudly. "That, you saved hybrid kids everywhere." "Is that true?" Marcus considered how to answer. "Your great-great-grandparents were the real heroes. They took the first step when nobody knew if it would work. I just protected what they built. But you fought a war. Oh, that's pretty heroic." "War is never heroic, Lyra. It's necessary sometimes. Important sometimes. But never something to celebrate. We fought because people wanted to kill children like you for being different. We won because we believed everyone deserves to live regardless of their genetics." Lyra processed this with 7-year-old seriousness. "My friend Tark, he's pure Zerillan. His parents say that's better than being mixed. That I'm deluded." Marcus felt old anger stir. "Even now. Even after everything. What do you think? I can speak 6 languages because of my genetics. I can see ultraviolet and infrared. I'm stronger than pure humans, and smarter than most pure Zarillans. How is that diluted?" Elena laughed. "That's my girl. Never let anyone tell you your heritage is weakness. I won't." "Great-Grandpa Marcus, can I ask you something?" "Anything." "Do you think there will be more wars? More people who hate hybrids?" Marcus looked at the garden, at the children playing, at the station beyond, home to 500,000 beings from countless species, all living together. Not perfectly. There were still tensions, still prejudices, still work to be done, but so much better than it had been. "Yes," Marcus said honestly. "There will probably be more conflicts, more people who fear change. But every generation there are fewer of them. Every year, hybrid life becomes more normal. Your generation won't have to fight the same battles mine did, and your children won't fight the ones you face. That's good, I guess. That's everything, Lyra. Progress isn't about solving all problems at once. It's about making things a little better for the next generation. Your great-great-grandparents did that for me. I did it for your grandparents. They did it for you. Someday, you'll do it for your children. Lyra hugged him. I love you, Great-Grandpa Marcus. I love you too, little star. She ran back to the other children, already showing them the presentation, already teaching them their own history. Elena took Marcus's hand. How much longer do you think we have? Not long. Maybe a year. Maybe less. The doctors say my hybrid physiology is degrading. Too many different genetic codes trying to coexist. I'm an evolutionary experiment that went right but can't last forever. I've got similar prognosis. 6 months to a year. We've had a good run. 91 years. Not bad for the first human Exarillan hybrid. Not bad at all. They sat in comfortable silence, watching the children play. Marcus thought about his journey. Born in crisis, childhood in hiding, teenage years learning to be normal, adult life commanding fleets, old age watching the galaxy transform. He'd done what his parents asked, protected the future, given hybrid children a chance to live. The work wasn't finished. Would never be finished, but it was sustainable now, self-perpetuating. The revolution had become culture. Culture had become normal. Normal had become simply life. His communicator chimed, a message from Arya, his cousin, now 87 and still serving on the Unity Accord Council. Marcus, the council wants to unveil something at next month's anniversary ceremony. A statue. You, your parents, Kelver, Claire, the founders of Hybrid Unity. We need you there. Marcus typed back slowly, his aged fingers struggling with the device. I'll be there. Wouldn't miss it. But he knew the truth. You probably wouldn't make it to next month. His body was failing. The miracle genetics that had given him life were finally breaking down. The price of being first, the cost of evolutionary experimentation. He didn't regret it. Would do it all again. His life had meant something. Changed something. Made the galaxy better for those who came after. That was enough. Elena squeezed his hand. What are you thinking? That I'm ready. When the time comes, I've seen enough, done enough. The rest is up to them. He gestured to the children. They'll carry it forward. Build something even better than what we protected. They will, because we taught them how. As the artificial sun set over New Unity Station, Marcus Morrison closed his eyes and let himself rest. Around him, life continued. Children laughed. Families loved. The galaxy spun on. And somewhere in the stars, he imagined his parents watching, proud of what their choice had created, of the legacy that would outlive them all. The future they'd fought for had arrived, and it was beautiful. 3 months later, Marcus Morrison died peacefully in his sleep, Elena beside him. The funeral was attended by millions. Representatives from 300 species came to pay respects. His children spoke. His grandchildren. His great-grandchildren. Each telling stories of a man who'd been forced into heroism but chose compassion, who'd commanded armies but valued peace, who'd been born as a symbol but lived as a person. They buried him beside his parents on Earth, in the Garden of Unity that had grown around their graves. 3 headstones, 3 revolutionaries who changed the galaxy simply by loving across boundaries others said were absolute. Lyra, Marcus's great-granddaughter, placed flowers on all 3 graves. Earth roses for Jake, Xerillan twilight blossoms for Sarah Va, and for Marcus, a hybrid flower that had been genetically engineered to combine traits from 7 species. Beautiful, impossible, perfect, just like him. As the ceremony ended and the crowds dispersed, Lyra stayed behind, 7 years old, 4th-generation hybrid, carrying the legacy of 3 people who dared to love when the galaxy said they couldn't. I'll make you proud, she whispered to the graves. I'll keep building what you started. Keep proving that different is beautiful. That mixed is strong. That love matters more than genetics. The wind carried her words away, But somewhere, maybe, 3 souls heard and smiled, because the revolution they'd started would never end. It would just keep evolving, one generation at a time, one choice at a time, one brave moment at a time, until every being in the galaxy understood the simple truth that Jake and Sarava had discovered 91 years ago. Love doesn't see species, it sees souls, and when souls connect,